Not a bad day for Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks qualifying races. Live look, Oaklawn Park moving the starting gate in place for the Martha Washington fillies on track. Post time just moments away. From the infield alongside champion jockey Richie Migliore, I'm Lafitte Pinkai. No time to mess around. The fillies are ready for the Martha Washington. Richie, what makes this race so significant? What's at stake?
Well, this is the path to the Kentucky Oaks. This is a prep race. It's a beginning, the start of something. But much like the boys we'll see later in the Southwest, they're trying to accumulate points. They're trying to get in the physical exertion they're going to need to go 1.1 1/8 for the fillies in the Kentucky Oaks. And you think about how important the Kentucky Oaks is, the counterpart to the Derby, much like the Alabama, the counterpart to the Travers.
Same race Rachel Alexandra won before eventually winning the Kentucky Oaks. Same with Secret Oath, filing in even money favorite Counting Stars, Richie.
Well, she's coming off some big efforts right here at Oaklawn Park, and I like it when a horse is shown an affinity for a race course.
20 points to the winner towards the Kentucky Oaks. Counting Stars moves into the voice of Oaklawn Park. Matt Dinneman with the call. Post time, the Martha Washington live on FS2.
Post position 3, the stablemate to Counting Stars, and Hit Parade in the Gary and Mary West colors. 2 back, Newtown Pike, and Grace is Free. Grace is Free to the outside post. We're ready to go in the Martha Washington, and we're off. Uneventful break. From the inside, Nickel and Dime is prominent. Maximum Offer alongside of her. Counting Stars right behind with her stablemate Search Party, who gets to the rail and hits the first turn, scraping paint. Newtown Pike park deep in the run into the clubhouse turn here. Then comes Spitfire right behind the speed. Hit Parade. She's 6 lengths behind in midfield today, and Grace is Free towards the back, but she is very rank in the early stages at the back of the pack. Approaching the back stretch, the long shot. Nickel and Dime carving out the fractions of the Martha Washington has opened up 2.5 lengths. Maximum Offer happy to track from second. Search Party makes her way into third. She's still on the rail. Counting Stars patiently ridden in a good gallop. Fourth as Nickel and Dime slows the pace down, comes back to the group. Then comes Grace is Free, still tugging. She's in between horses right now, and she's 4 lengths behind with nowhere to go at the moment. Hit Parade is making a move on the outside. She's 4 or 5 pass off the rail. Hit Parade approaching the turn. Spitfire down on the inside, just 4 off the lead. Newtown Pike at the rear as they're bunched up going into the far turn. Nickel and Dime, 3 furlongs to go. Length in front. Maximum Offers second. Hit Parade third, gaining ground in the 3 path. And Counting Stars is dropping anchor. Counting Stars dropping to the rear. She did not fire her best shot. Is not going to hit the board. She's going to run at the tail of the field today. Coming back to the lead. Nickel and Dime, hard ridden. Maximum Offer. Hit Parade 3 wide in the swing off the corner. And then comes Search Party looking for a spot. She's got a lot of run. She's going to get outside. Newtown Pike trying to rally on down the center. Wide open, Maximum Offer, inside Nickel and Dime. Newtown Pike, Search Party moving together. 4-way driving finish. It's a battle. Here comes Search Party. Search Party head in front. Search Party wins the Martha Washington. Newtown Pike second. Nickel and Dime third. Maximum Offer finish fourth.
Driving finish in the Martha Washington, and Tracy Farmer's Search Party emerging victorious 4-1 in the end, and 20 points towards the Kentucky Oaks.
This was a tremendous horse race. What an effort. They come to the 16th bowl. There were 5 horses with an opportunity to win it, and the perfect trip from Search Party under Christian Torres. Sat inside that coveted pocket position, saved all the ground, made a little room for himself at the top of the stretch, and was able to battle between horses. This was a brave game effort, a great dress rehearsal of what she might have to face going forward. Christian Torres, he made a big difference here. This is as good a ride as you're going to see.
Didn't know if she was going to get the 2 fillies in front of her, and then seemed to respond from the pressure applied from the outside in Newtown Pike.
I think it was part that it almost got her a little more interested. And also, I just think it took her a little while to find her momentum, find her best stride after making a bit of space for herself. And really nice for Tracy Farmer. This is a homebred for him, so I think that makes it even more special.
Lots to smile about. Mark Casse, member of 2 Halls of Fame, won more than 4,000 races, never a Kentucky Oaks. He won the Arkansas Derby last year, Sandman. The second time he's done that. Could be a big afternoon for Casse. 2 runners later on in the Southwest Stakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the story with Christian Torres, last year he was riding Sandman. They decided to make a rider change, go to Jose Ortiz. He handled himself with class. He even worked the horse for them. And you're rewarded with getting on more horses for him and get opportunities like this.
Yeah, that's one part of the story. The other is the even money favorite and Counting Stars, a complete no-show off the board. Her race was done rounding the far turn. Much more on this Martha Washington coming up a little bit later on. $1 Million Derby prep. America's Best Racing's race of the week. Southwest Stakes, 59th running. There's the field and morning line. Litmus test we knew would... He defected a couple of days ago. He was the morning line favorite. He's out. Bricklin scratched this morning. 12 of them running a mile and a 16th. Number 2, Decode now 3-1 morning line favorite based on what he did in his lone start to date. Decode, Richie, tearing a hole in the wind right here mid-December.
And, you know, sometimes horses win impressively by big margins, and the race comes back a bit slow. That wasn't the case here. Not only did he blow this field away by nearly 9 lengths, he got a 99 buyer figure. Now, he has a pedigree that first blush you go, well, maybe he's more of a sprint type from the pedigree, but he does have a sibling, a half-brother that won going 1 mile and a furlong in Japan, and Speightstown seems to be able to get runners that do pretty much anything.
Your gut as you look there at Decode, owned by Tom Durant, so much potential. Those questions, though, you mentioned, your gut, how effective do you think he'll be tackling that added distance today?
Well, not only has to tackle the added distance, he's going from a maiden race to a stakes race, and not just any stakes race, $1 million Grade 3 stakes race. It's a big step. You know, horses, there are conditions for races, right? So after a maiden race, it's a non-win is a 1, a non-win is a 2, so forth. He's skipping about 7 or 8 conditions, but maybe he's just that talented.
Trained by Ray Ashford. You'll learn more about him, lots more about him a little bit later on in the broadcast. Another contender is Butane as we welcome in Megan Burgess trackside, trained by Bob Baffert. Megan, at some point, Baffert's going to learn how to start winning these Derby prep races here at Oaklawn Park.
I really feel bad for him, Lafitte. It seems as though he just can't win one. We are, of course, teasing. He is so dominant, Bob Baffert, when it comes to stretching horses out here at Oaklawn Park, and he looks to do the same with the number 3, Butane, today. As Litmus test did not ship, Butane, the lone representative of the barn, as he takes the 2-turn test for the very first time. And a son of Tis the Law. I initially, seeing him at Saratoga, had my questions as far as him stretching out, but he has had a series of stamina-inducing drills at Santa Anita. He's missed 0 training time on the beautiful West Coast. He comes into this race fresh, and just looking at him, I think he's taken a step forward physically from the summer, but Baffert, just such a strong record in this race. You'll see Arabian Night, he did the same thing with. Just won 7 furlong victory before stretching him out to a Southwest victory with the record in the Southwest here at Oaklawn Park as he seeks to get another one. And guys, it's going to take some beating if Butane does take another step forward around 2 turns, Lafitte.
It's Baffert. Yeah, 6 wins in the Southwest, as you mentioned, Megan. 8 wins in the Rebel, 5 wins in the Arkansas Derby. Richie, your thoughts on Butane?
Well, Bob Baffert does not ship into Oaklawn or any place else unless he thinks the horses are spot on. He knows how to win these races. He knows what kind of horse it takes. At first blush, I'm concerned about distance for this horse because the mare was a sprinter and she has thrown predominantly sprinters, but he might get loose in here coming out of those sprint races. And when Joel Rosario's in front, who rides Butane, pretty tough to get by.
See how it all shakes out. Race number 11, the Southwest Stakes, post time around 5:40 Eastern. Today's race is brought to you by Claiborne Farm, 100 years doing the usual, unusually well. Off and running here at Oaklawn, Class 6 time here. Oaklawn's Pick 6, 3 stakes races included. Aqueduct, terrific Saturday program. Late Pick 4 on tap, included the Ruthless in Moments and the Withers. Of course, you can play all this great racing and eventually the Derby, the Oaks, and racing all over the world at Naira Bets. Get involved. Sign up today. Take advantage in that $200 deposit match. You can watch any race, anywhere, anytime. Sign up today. NairaBets.com. As we say hello to our friends and colleagues in New York at Aqueduct on set. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, guys, like not bad for a Friday. Kentucky Derby prep race here, Kentucky Derby prep race there. Yeah, it seems strange to have these Derby preps on a weekday, on a Friday afternoon. I love it, though, and it brings a little extra to our broadcast. Withers out here still to come, and we have two from the barn of Chad Brown that both look imposing.
I agree. Chad looks like he has the right two horses. He's got the controlling speed. In the number 2 horse, he's got, how is it, Otinho? Otinho, okay, is the other one. It doesn't feel like we necessarily have quite as strong an inside bias as yesterday, and we are seeing at least some horses make up some ground, but I still think we're dealing with a pretty good rail, which is probably going to make Schoolyard Superman the horse to beat.
Yeah, here's a look at who's going to line up. Field of 7, 2 right next door to each other from the Chad Brown barn. He's won this race back in 2021, 2022. Of course, early voting would go on to win the Preakness. Let's look at Schoolyard Superman and kind of a breakout performance last time out when he broke his maiden to end his 2-year-old campaign.
But it didn't come from nowhere. He was very likely going to win his debut in what was a pretty fast maiden race, and he got involved in an incident and went down, and maybe he had some effects from that when he came back just 6 weeks later in October. Now, to be fair, I think being inside was an advantage on Cigar Mile Day, which is when this was, but not a huge bias. So maybe it helped him a bit, but maybe he's just a horse that's improving. Chad Brown's told me he's been training very well. If you look at the two horses and you look at pedigree, though, it's the other one that has really the pedigree to go long.
Half brother to a Hall of Famer in the great gun runner. That would be Otinho, who will break right next door to him from the Chad Brown barn as well, also coming off a maiden win. We have more stakes action coming up in our immediate future. Race 8 just 5 minutes away. Ruthless for 3-year-old fillies, sprinting 7 furlongs. Shilling, the one to beat for Ken McPeak, tempted winner from last year, and making a brief visit with us before she heads off to Tampa Bay for our coverage tomorrow. Going to log a lot of miles, Acacia Clement.
Yeah, very happy to be here, Greg. It's a tremendous card, and Shilling is getting a little bit of an equipment change for the races today. I did get a chance to catch up with Jimmy Durkins, who oversees Kenny McPeak's New York string here, and she's going to be running in a cage bit for the first time. So straight bar through the mouth and the bar underneath the chin, giving the rider a lot more control, and he said that he had trained her in it. He felt that the ring bit she used to wear was bothering her mouth, that she was kind of resenting it, and he felt that the jockeys really had a lot of success with this type of cage bit that she's going to be wearing. He also said that he hadn't noticed her swishing her tail training recently, which she does tend to do throughout the running of the races. I like the cutback for her. She looks sensational here in the paddock, and I'm very intrigued to see how that equipment change does bode today, Greg.
All right, thank you, Acacia. Post-parade coming up. We're 4 minutes from a start in the Ruthless, and we'll start with the 2. Inherits the rail with a scratch of the 1 here. Tom Morley barn. Interstate Love Song.
She was dangerous on paper on a fair racetrack. She's the speed. She's run reasonably well in both of her starts, but the way the track's been playing, she is a major threat to wire this field.
Shipper from Parks, who won the debut, our Golden Gator.
And was very green early in that race, got left, took a while to figure things out, and then ran down a loose speed. She's not without a chance.
Midnight Ginny, I believe, went by at 18-1.
Probably the only time she'll be going by today.
2 bits, 2-1 major player.
I picked 2 bits. She could be compromised a bit by the racetrack, but I like the race she came out of, and I'm curious to see how that dazzling Dame race plays out.
Courage on Tap coming off a maiden win at Parks, and then here's the big favorite at 4-5, Shilling.
She should be the favorite. I mean, her credentials are solid. She's a horse to beat, and she has speed, but she is going to be chasing outside.
Let's wrap up that Martha Washington on the road to this year's Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. 20 points to get into that starting gate. First Friday in May to Search Party, who gets the win here. Marcassi barn, he had Counting Stars as well, who dropped out of it. And the stablemate picks up the pieces here. Christian Torres aboard for Tracy Farmer.
And got a very delicious trip behind horses, and kind of took a while to get her momentum going when she did. She finally was able to grind out the victory over the long shot, and I know I'm getting old, but it feels like Stuart Janney had a horse named Search Party not that long ago, but maybe I'm wrong.
Back to New York here, 2 minutes away, and just so many things to like with the filly on your screen right now as she gets set for her 3-year-old debut. Even really that last start where she backed up. 1 1/8. Why should we be worried about at 1 1/8 with today being at 7 furlongs?
If it was a fair racetrack, I would have little concerns about her. I think she ran just fine, the Demoiselle. And we've talked about it. Zany, in my opinion, is the most impressive horse in her generation we've seen so far. So I don't have a problem with the race, and maybe it was a little bit far for her. I worry a little bit, though. She's in that outside stalking position, which isn't a huge detriment, but it's not definitely a great position to be in.
I'm not saying she's going to be in the lead, but she has speed to use.
She does. She's just not as fast as the 2 Interstate Love Song. She needs that horse to not break.
And we see a very aggressive bullet gate drill as well coming into this back on January 22nd, the quickest of 131 horses in the morning in the lead up to this 3-year-old return. Let's go back to Acacia.
And as far as the number 2 Interstate Love Song is concerned, Andy is right. She's quick, and the inside speed, I think, does bode well for her. She will get an extra half furlong today, and she's a tall and leggy individual that should appreciate a little bit more ground. Thought she actually ran pretty well at the 7/8 on debut. Not an easy spot to start in. Got to the front end and pulled away much the best last time. Now, the waters do get a bit deeper, but I will say she stacks up physically exceptionally well and very, very fit coming in here, too. Now, as far as the number 3 Golden Gator, she's just making her second start. She's coming in from Parks. I know that she looks a bit slow on paper, and she has to get around horses like Schilling and even 2 Bits, who has been stake-faced and ran fine last time out. But our Golden Gator is a horse that just kept catching my eye. Back in the paddock, she was outfooted at the start last time out, and she was able to run down an open pace setter and pull away. I don't know how good that race is. She's going to need to break better today and need to work out a trip, but like I said, she's, from a physical perspective, one that really caught my eye, and I think will love the 7/8 today, Greg.
Public agrees. Thank you, Acacia. 3-5 favorite on the board right now from that outside post as she gets set for her 3-year-old debut. Let's go back to the one you were intrigued by as maybe an alternative here. That's the 5 2 Bits.
I really like the race that she's coming out of. I thought that the winner looks like a legitimate 3-year-old filly contender for in big race going forward, and I thought she's been improving, and she's running speed figures that I think make her a player in here. I'm just worried that she won't get the right trip because she does not have any natural speed.
3-1 second choice right now with Jamie Rodriguez for trainer Amelia Green, former assistant to Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher, as we go back to the favorite, who readies for that 3-year-old debut coming up. She won back-to-back starts. She broke her maiden as a huge surprise. She was 18-1 that day in the second start of her career. Then she was better than 7-1 in the Tempted when she had that stakes victory. And then you can forgive, as we said, that Demoiselle not just facing, as you mentioned, probably arguably the best 3-year-old filly in the land right now, but at a distance maybe she does not want to go.
I agree with all of that, Greg, and I think that she is the right favorite. If it was a fair racetrack, I would not have a problem with her. I just worry on this racetrack it makes her a little vulnerable, but I agree she's way the horse to beat.
Schilling the odds-on favorite in the Ruthless. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
And they're off. Schilling broke very outward, now straightens up. Schilling is trying to be up on the pace, but quicker is Interstate Love Song. Interstate Love Song is right there with our Golden Gator, and now Schilling, who was very wide coming out of the starting gate, is now progressing center of the racetrack to challenge. That's the top trio, as in behind them is a well-settled Courage on Tap moving forward quickly. That's 2 Bits. The trailer, Midnight Ginny. Tightly packed here as they work up the backstretch in the Ruthless, and the leader is Interstate Love Song. Schilling more comfortable now in second. Our Golden Gator is back to third. 23.34 was the opening quarter mile as they're working in the turn now. It's Interstate Love Song who's confronted by Schilling. Right behind them, Courage on Tap has now taken third, is moving to the outside at a big number, 46.70 for a half-mile time. 2 Bits, Jamie Rodriguez, nowhere to go. Purple Silks at the rail is going to try to squeeze on through. Our Golden Gator is all in. They reach the top of the stretch. Interstate Love Song has the lead. At the rail, it's 2 Bits who's ready to challenge, and now 2 Bits, a rail skimming ride, is trying to surprise Interstate Love Song, who's trying to gut it out. It's these two shoulder to shoulder. Schilling not today. 2 Bits puts ahead in front. Can Interstate Love Song battle back to the outside inside the final 16th? These two are noses apart. 2 Bits to the inside. Interstate Love Song. 2 Bits won it. 2 Bits won it over Interstate Love Song. Our Golden Gator and Schilling in 1 minute 24.11 seconds in the Ruthless.
2 Bits, Interstate Love Song in a duel to the finish, and it goes to 2 Bits Jamie Rodriguez for Amelia Green.
Sometimes a rider is on a horse and earns their 10% of the purse because they just were fortunate enough to be riding the best horse. I think Jamie Rodriguez deserves 20% of this purse. He did everything right you could do to give this filly her best chance. She has no speed. He got her in the game. He got her right to the rail. She never left the rail. Unfortunately, for the two, she drifted coming the stretch, and Jamie was able to come up the rail and get it done. The two Interstate Love Song never gave up despite being possibly off the best part of the track and giving it to two bits. This is a heck of a horse race between two very good horses and a great ride by Jamie Rodriguez.
Young rider turning heads. Won a Preakness for Dwayne Lucas, the coach, giving that young rider a chance when he was still around with us. And now he's continuing to evolve as a rider here. Two Bits wins at 5-2, and inside continues to be the place to be on this racetrack.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't say enough. And this is a ride where you say Jamie Rodriguez is paying attention. He had a plan, and he executed it perfectly.
Out dueling Ricardo Santana Jr. on Interstate Love Song. And look at Santana up with a little pop to his rival.
He's probably
5-2-3-7. It's Two Bits. Let's go to Acacia.
With winning trainer Amelia Green. Amelia, you rooted her home hard there, but what a ride from Jamie Rodriguez to get to the rail. That seemed to be the right move.
I think so, yeah, that was key. I mean, you could see on the backside, as soon as he could, he took us straight down to the rail, and we discussed it before the race. The rail seems pretty good the last 2 days, so it was definitely the place to be. And it helps when you have a tough filly like this that doesn't mind going up the rail. She did it in a maiden win, and to do it again today just proves she's a tough filly.
She's faced some good horses, too. She seems like maybe been a little bit of a work in progress.
Yeah, she has, and I think, you know, we were sprinting at early 5.5, and just when you get her further, she keeps going, and I think she would have kept going today and kept fighting, so I'm very proud of her.
As you should be. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Greg.
Amelia Green, she has been just a rapid rising star in this sport, having come up under Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher, and she's making us take notice.
I mean, she was winning from day one, and she didn't exactly have a barn full of, 3 to 5s and such, and obviously working for Todd Pletcher is a great education, but Todd didn't want her to go. I think he made a deal with her and got her to stay about an extra year, and if Todd Pletcher doesn't want you to leave, there's probably a good sign that you're a very good trainer, and her results have borne out that way.
Jamie Rodriguez for EGL1 Racing, trainer Amelia Green, winner of the Ruthless. Here in the 8th, our Derby prep, the Withers. Still to come here in New York. Stay with us. Great to have you with us. America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2 is always brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit Naira.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. Oaklawn Resort Casino right across the way. And here, the live racing continues on the Southwest Stakes Friday. Gearing up for the 7th Post Parade. Liberty's champion, the first one we'll see. 21-1, expensive Colt second start, new barn.
Took money on debut when trained by Brad Cox. New barn here, Kelly Von Hemmel's going to have to improve.
Number 3, Bayou Flyer posted better for his second start.
Yeah, it did break a bit slowly from an outside draw. Could improve with the effort, but is going to have to.
Silver Prince, at least he doesn't have to tangle with the likes of Decode this time.
No, Chase Decode, maybe a little bit of a barometer of what we might see from him later. The mare of this horse was better going longer. Could improve on the stretch out.
Bedeviled make the rider Eric Asmussen teamed up with his father for 3 wins yesterday. There's Owie. A debut wasn't bad. The second start improved.
I think this is a long shot with a big chance. Kind of got the one that made the first move into a runaway leader.
Just JoJo Classic pattern 2 sprint stretched out.
Yeah, and both were good efforts. The Grand Dam was actually a mare that won the Honeybee right here at Oaklawn Park.
And next stop en route to the Kentucky Oaks through Hot Springs. You saw Crupper, then Fleek.
Well, this horse adds blinkers, and I think it could help because this horse has been one pace. Just doesn't have like a turn of foot.
I'm Worthy, Team Mystic Dan, Brian Hernandez, Kenny McPeak.
I get the band back together here, but a horse that's going to have to take another step forward.
Mr. Fancy Pants, 2-time Eclipse Award-winning jockey Flavian Pratt.
Well, Mare was a sprinter, stretching out, tough post, but you get Flavian Pratt.
Already one win this afternoon. Then on the outside, Bienville. Make the rider Eduardo Gallardo.
Yeah, a decent effort sprinting. The Mare was more of a sprinter type, and this is an extremely tough post. You know, you're already drawn wide, not the biggest run to the first turn, and young horses especially are like water. They flow to empty space. So you got to keep an eye that he doesn't take that step out away from his rivals.
Day after day, race after race, these big fields at Oaklawn Park, maidens, 3-year-olds, mile and a 16th, just like the Southwest Stakes. You're looking at Silver Prince. Let's revisit his debut. If the race looks familiar, it should. The Decode Demolition Richie, Silver Prince, plugging away. No match for Decode, but does finish second.
Yeah, he was second best, but you got to be encouraged by the fact that sometimes when a horse throws their best punch, right, make a run, that they'll flatten out when you've got a superior rival. The fact that this horse just kind of stayed on resolutely, I think speaks a little bit about his determination.
Horses that finish behind him, like Reclamation, running in the Southwest Stakes, while Silver Prince here trying to merely graduate.
I think it's a much more prudent tack to take, right? You have that maiden race at your disposal, and there's still plenty of time if your horse shows they have the ability to be a Kentucky Derby type horse to get one of those preps into him.
Now over to Megan for more on the favorite, Silver Prince.
I'm always hesitant, guys, to hammer these types of horses that are decidedly beaten in those situations back in their subsequent starts, particularly when they have to stretch out in distance. And while you're getting nowhere near the 27-1 you did on him last time out, I'm still hesitant to bet him again in this spot, despite the clear buyer speed figure edge that he does have on this group. Ron Moquet's just 6% the past 3 years with those maiden second timers. And while in the debut, he didn't break all of that sharp, was more rear pack, and then he came on nicely in a good race. We clearly know that. I just have my doubts about him in this spot. I think it's a lot more competitive. Others around him getting Lasix and also getting added ground for the first time. I also think this horse has more of a turfy pedigree and might even just fare better there, perhaps in the future. But I landed on the number 12, Mr. Fancy Pants for Norm Cassie. And if you're going to have to negotiate an outside draw that he has to, you might as well get Eclipse champion jockey Flavian Pratt to do so. And when touching base with Andy Biancone, who rides for the Cassie barn in the morning, the last time he ran, this horse has ability. He's just green and was figuring things out. And I think that Lasix will be yet again to his benefit, tactical from that outside post. And I love the sprint to route angle, particularly here with this horse, as he does have some frame and leg to him that I think will appreciate the added distance. But our colleague Tom Amos, I wanted to give a shout out to in the number 3, Bayou Flyer, a horse with a gorgeous pedigree by Curlin out of Fire Island. He actually was the agent on this horse. Beautifully bred. Unraced Dam was a full sister to Haskell winner of Verrazano and a half to a graded stakes winner. So lots of pedigree. I think the route game is exactly what this horse wants, and I'm very interested to see if this horse will take a step forward on Lasix for the first time in his second outing, Lafitte.
A much better post for his second outing. Marooned outside in his debut. Will break from the 2-hole today. Richie, you want to touch on Owie here, and Christian Torres looking for back-to-back wins.
Yeah, I think his race was even better than it looked. He was second best to our Magical Moon, a Mark Cassie runner last time, but he was the closest pursuer to a runaway leader who wound up eased, and he was the one who had to make that first move, so he was ripe to get a little bit tired. Now he's got that race under his belt, a good effort. If he takes another step forward at a big price, I think this horse is a little bit interesting.
Not a big price. Silver Prince, 9-5 at post time. Time for the Class 6. Oaklawn's Pick 67th. From Oaklawn, live on FS2, here's Matt Dinnerman.
I'm Worthy about to step in. Owie, post 6. 2 back. I'm Worthy. Mr. Fancy Pants is loaded. 1 more. Bienville to the outside. And Leroff, Silver Prince with an awkward break and drops towards the back of the field. Owie flashing his guns early leads the way from Krupper, who's in the second spot. Just JoJo taken back to third. Mr. Fancy Pants right behind him as they corner into the first turn run. Bedeviled saving ground into that turn. Fleek is parked deep as they round the clubhouse turn. Bienville is farther out than Silver Prince off the speed. He's 6 behind in the bridle already. Gap of 2 to Bayou Flyer. Liberty's Champion on a stronghold second to last. I'm Worthy at the tail end of the field as they swing up the back stretch. It's Owie at 9-1. Making play on the lead. Lengthen a tail ahead. Krupper right behind in chase mode second. Mr. Fancy Pants in a good spot third. 2 1/4 lengths behind. Just JoJo to his inside. Gap of 3 to Fleek. Silver Prince is joining him between horses now. Bedeviled inside of that pair. They're all running 6 lengths behind, approaching the half-mile pole. There's a gap of 4. Prairie Bayou running in midfield going into the far turn. Bienville is next as they go into that turn. Trying to pass runners. I'm Worthy. And the 4th last position from the back of the field is a lot of work to do here. Liberty's Champion at the tail as they round the far turn. Owie in front by a length and a half. Krupper sent hard outside of him. Just JoJo third. 3 behind with Mr. Fancy Pants. The others need to get going. Silver Prince just plotting in place under pressure. Not going to get it done. Top of the lane. Owie is asked to finish now. Krupper's gaining ground on him, though. Owie getting tired. Krupper alongside. Mr. Fancy Pants is asked for his best, and here comes Fleek right up the rail. Fleek gathering goat momentum. Krupper has the advantage now. Hitting the 16th pole from Mr. Fancy Pants. Fleek on the inside into second. It's Krupper holding on tenaciously to the lead. Krupper, Fleek with a late surge. Krupper breaks the maiden under Abel Cedillo. Fleek second. Just JoJo third. Mr. Fancy Pants fourth.
Steadily improving and puts it all together today does Krupper, graduating in his 4th career start at a price 16-1 in the end.
And this is a horse that added blinkers. Donnie Von Hemmel, a trainer who's been getting it done for many, many years, a terrific horseman. And I like that angle with a horse that's been one pace. This horse has just been kind of even in his races, right? Doesn't change gears. The blinkers maybe get him a little bit more interested, find a bit more.
Silver Prince, the favorite, number 4, leaps at the start here, Richie.
Yeah, he really kind of skied it a little bit, kind of lost any chance at position at that point. Just didn't really offer much after that, Lafitte, regardless of that. You know?
He finished second, chasing Dakota in his debut, came from off the pace, right? So, yeah, that's not the way you want to start necessarily, but he still should have, and when he's in position, that he should have run better this afternoon.
Well, particularly stretching out, you would imagine you'd be more forward.
Deep stretch here. Krupper, aggressive up the backstretch, pulling it, Abel Cedillo. What was the difference today that he was able to earn his first career victory?
Well, I think the blinkers had the desired effect. They wanted him more in the bridle. They wanted him a little bit more tactile, and he was. And that's what you need, especially with a horse that's shown they're a little bit one-paced. You'd rather have them a touch more aggressive than off the bridle, where what I term a bicycle horse, where the rider's having to pedal constantly to keep them interested. He was very interested, really good move, and something for people to pay attention to going forward. When you see a horse that runs these kind of even races, elevate their chances when they add blinkers.
Yeah, I think I know the answer, but I still have to ask, do you feel any different whatsoever? Does this change anything for you about how you feel about Decode, given Silver Prince disappointed today?
No, it doesn't. Now, on the flip side of that, if he had run huge Silver Prince and won by 4 or 5 lengths,
sure.
Suddenly, Decode is elevated in everybody's eyes, but I don't think this diminishes him either.
Strength of schedule. 8, 9, 7, 12 in the 7th, kicking off the Class 6 Oaklawn Park. Speaking of Decode, trainer Ray Ashford, son of a miner, part-time thoroughbred trainer. His story later in the broadcast and the exciting colt he trains. Decode, brilliantly fast debut. So what'll he do for an encore in the Southwest Stakes?
$1,600,000. Thank you.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
First again and again and again. First mission, 4 graded stakes. He made finishing first his mission, and all with big buyers. Now he's a Darley stallion, and breeders are falling in love with him. Here's fabled horseman John Williams.
First mission is an eyeful. He's beautifully balanced, and I love the way he uses himself as he moves.
Come to see First Mission and tell us your first impression. Consider it your mission.
Oaklawn Hot Springs is here for when you need to break away, when you want to reward yourself, when you deserve to indulge, when you want to be close to the action. It's all here. So what are you waiting for? Live racing returns with the classic racing season. So plan your stay at Oaklawn Hot Springs and come join the fun.
Look at that image as we welcome you back. America's Day at the Races on FS2. Brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years with the usual, unusually well. Gorgeous scenics from Claiborne Farm. Picture perfect afternoon this Friday, day 2 of the Classic Meet. Oaklawn Park, and entering the winner's circle, Crupper for trainer Donnie Von Hemel, Abel Cedillo, the winning pilot.
And worked out a good trip. Blinkers had the desired effect, put him more focused, more in the game. And even again, I think just having more position, he was grinding, right? He's a horse that just kind of stays on. He's not going to give you that big kind of acceleration or kick. But I thought he got a great trip under Abel Cedillo, and he got it done. And once again, Lafitte, come to the 8th pole, inside the 8th pole, there's 5 or 6 in the frame that could win. And just good, exciting, competitive races here at Oaklawn Park.
4 of them separated by length and change in the Martha Washington.
Yep.
And another exciting finish here at a price. 16-1 in the end. Fleek and Just JoJo waiting to see Silver Prince enter the screen, coming to like he was going to threaten at some point and just never materialized.
No, listen, he did himself no favors, lunging up in the air at the break, but he just looked flat after that.
Race 7 in the books. Still have the Southwest ahead a little bit later on. And we have stakes racing coming up with the General MacArthur in race number 8. There's the field. Take out numbers 1, 2, and 9. Older horses, mile and an eighth. Richie, 5-2 Super Cruise. I'll ask you about Super Cruise in just a few moments as we step aside as our coverage moves forward. Ahead to the Southwest and so much more on this Friday afternoon. Plus the story of a friendship dating back more than a quarter century. Amanda Jessup and Carla Shoppy. When they met, fans of a great racehorse, now microshare owners of a racehorse named Schoolyard Superman.
Back with you on our Friday coverage with 2 Kentucky Derby preps to come on this Friday afternoon. You're watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing, making the sport easier to follow. Explore stories, betting tips, and race day insights at americasbestracing.net. What's new at ABR? Chad Brown will send out stablemates in this upcoming Withers on the road to the Kentucky Derby. We'll take a look at the Southwest as well. Rhiannon Sandman, fan favorite, making his debut for 2026 coming up on our Saturday action. And thoroughbred racehorse owners who have competed in the Super Bowl, all that and more, find at ABR. We have a special guest joining us on the set. He's grown up a little bit since then.
A little bit.
Handicapping's gotten a little bit better as well. Known for being on In the Money Media podcast. We won't hold that against him.
I know.
Jackson Muniz, good to have you here. And you were on Talking Horses earlier this Andy, but good to have you on set.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Really excited to join you guys today.
How are you enjoying this East Coast weather?
It's definitely a little different, a little colder than we're used to. I think on Wednesday it was 86 degrees in Southern California. So when I walked off the plane, I was still in my basketball shorts, and it was 20 degrees, and it was quite a shock when I got outside.
So that was your first bad handicapping decision?
That was my first bad decision of the weekend, yeah.
Real quick, we'll jump into it later, obviously, but your thoughts on this pair from Chad Brown and the Withers?
They're going to be tough, right? I think they both run very fast. They're both speedy, and the favorite that we're going to talk about is a half the gun runner. Anytime you have a horse like that, high expectations for sure.
That, of course, Otino. You have Schoolyard Superman as well. Looks like a pretty potent pair. First things first, though, race 9. Before we get to the Withers, 1 1/8. Allowance optional claiming field. And something none of us really do here. Chillax. Here's the 1 at 2 to 1 for Bill Mott.
And I wonder if Bill gelded him, and one of the reasons that he gelded this horse was he is a horse, Jackson, has a bit of a disinterest in winning. He's done a lot of hanging in his career.
Yeah, he has, and you can look at the much money he's burned in his career. He's lost his favorite 3 or 4 times at this point, and just feels like they're trying to shake things up, get him to find a way to get back into the winner's circle.
His 4-year-old debut is coming up. Riders up, as you see. Leg up to Eric Cancel on Ambition.
And I think this is the second time at least we've tried to run it. And the last time Chillax had an outside post. Now he gets the rail. And the horse that Jackson and I like, Landuro, had an inside post and now has an outside post. So the redraw favored the current favorite and did not help our horse.
Yeah, and not only does he have the rail now, but he also has the benefit of being on the best part of the track. As we've seen the last couple of days, inside has been very good.
Here is Chillax, the current favorite, 7 to 5 now for Bill Mott.
His only win, he beat a very mediocre field. There are a lot of things to like about him, but the thing to not like about him is his lack of interest in winning.
Neon Bordeaux has won 3 in a row.
Yeah, looking for 4 in a row today. He is taking a step up in class, but if he gets the right trip, he could be dangerous.
Big price next door, Toga Doro, Brad Cox.
You don't see too many Brad Cox horses at 24 to 1, but he actually looks like an underlay.
Even bigger price, Ambition, the 4, and here's Eric Cancel aboard.
Yeah, this seems like an ambitious spot for Ambition. He would definitely need a form reversal to make some noise.
Todd Pletcher with Valentinian.
His very best races would give him a bit of a chance, but that's the best in his recent form, not good.
Blinkers off. Here's Georgia Magic, Ray Handel trains.
He's the speed of this race. He's supposed to be the expected front runner, and his last race was pretty good.
Blinkers off as well. Next door, Makes Sense, Chad Summers, second off the claim.
Didn't have the best of trips last time, but he's sort of doomed to chasing outside and here. But he's a bit of a price.
And same equipment change here as well. Magical Ways, Blinkers coming off with the 8.
Also getting a barn switch today, and he's run some numbers that would put him in the mix against these. He's searching for his first win in nearly 2 years, though.
Here's Landoro, Manny Franco for Miguel Clement.
Yeah, he's been a new horse since getting the freshening over summer. He's run very well his last couple of races, and he's another one that should be forwardly placed.
Nice appearance from that one. And then Power Seeker. Here's Ruben Silvera, 16 to 1.
Yeah, it's a pretty ambitious spot for this horse and not a particularly good post either.
Run quiet, run fast, big price outside with Tom Morley.
Yeah, he's yet another one that's getting a barn switch in this race. I felt like you could make a couple excuses for his last few, and he'll be a big number in here.
You can play all the action we're bringing you on the program, including these 2 Derby preps ahead. The Withers here from New York, Grade 3 Southwest from Hot Springs, Arkansas, by getting signed up at Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Get that $200 new customer bonus deposit match and sign up. When you punch in the code bonus 200, there it is. Again at NairaBets.com. 6-5 favorite is Chillax. Let's look at the 10, though. Landoro for Miguel Clement, 3-time winner.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at his most recent race and the field he faced that day, Life and Times is a very nice horse. He won this race by open lengths, got a really fast number. And then he finished second to, the second place finisher, was Dreamlike, who came right back to win. I feel like that field he faced that day might be better than the one he's facing today. And it does seem like he's going to have an easier going of it on the front end.
Yeah, he's not going to clear the 6 Georgia Magic in all likelihood, but the horses that are sort of directly inside of him don't have a lot of speed. So an aggressive ride out of the gate from Manny Franco, I think that he can get at least in the 2-path outside of Georgia Magic and get that position. And I liked his last race quite a bit. Life and Times had dueled in his last start with a very, very promising Nightbridge, and I thought ran a respectable race behind him. That horse is just too good. I liked his last race. I actually think it was better than his win.
He's constantly seems to have issues getting out of the gate, though, as well. Sometimes not his own fault, but
he's been a bit of a problem horse in the past. I feel like he's kind of been much more professional in his last 2 starts, though I don't disagree. He didn't have the greatest break last time, but it wasn't that bad.
Let's go back to Acacia.
Yeah, he is the type of horse at Landoro that has had some trouble getting out of the gate. But interesting, I was speaking to Miguel's assistant here based in New York, Amanda Villafranco, and she was saying that she's really gotten to know this horse really well, and she thinks that he really will benefit from not being rushed early on, and that's the thought process with getting a little bit longer distance, and maybe that will help him for a horse that's not the smoothest out of the gate either. Manny Franco's given him a big warm-up, so the key for him is going to be able to get into stride. Last time he was stuck chasing 2 actually very talented horses with Life and Times going down to duel with Knightsbridge and Dreamlike coming back to win and improving his buyer speed figure by 5 points. Now, the number 1, Chillax, I agree. I think the gelding really is to kind of help him mentally more than anything else. Not because he's a horse that acts up. He is an energetic type sometimes, and in the past a few times he has gotten keen early on in his races, but he just really seems to maybe lack some focus or lack some try, and gelding can really help with that sometimes. I also think that since he's been gelded, he might have even strengthened up a little bit, particularly in his hind end, which had been a little bit of his problem area before. So I do appreciate that about him. He's burned quite a bit of money recently, but I am curious to see if the gelding will make a big difference for him. The 6 Georgia Magic, I agree, should be the pace in here. The blinkers do come off for a horse that's been a bad actor throughout. He is one that changed dramatically once he was gelded with some seasoning, and with the blinkers coming off, I do think that it should help him, hopefully, to kind of relax and ration out that speed a bit. He was dueling last time out, and he really did try in that race. He is built like a horse that should like the mile and an 1/8, though, so I'm willing to give him another try at it. And that brings me to the 7. Makes sense. I have always been of the opinion that this is his best distance. He's a big price. He has to improve. I thought he did have a bit of trouble last time out, and I wanted to give him one more chance as he is second off the claim for Chad Summers, Greg.
And there he is on cue, the 7, with that blinkers off equipment change for Chad Summers, second off the claim. Thank you, Acacia. Race away from the Kentucky Derby prep here in New York. The Withers at 1 mile and an 1/8 with that pair from the Chad Brown Barn and Schoolyard Superman and Otino. First things first, Chillax for reigning Eclipse Award-winning trainer Bill Mott. He's got the rail runner with Sahin Savachi set for the 4-year-old debut. Let's send it upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call.
Power Seeker. Run quiet, run fast, last to load. Goes in. All set. Power Seeker open the front of the gate. Lunged forward. Closing it up. Set again. And they're off. Makes sense. Flashes early speed in between horses. Togadoro's right there in the early mix too. From the outside, Power Seeker is looking for a spot. Landoro's trying to tuck in. And now in between horses, also moving forward is Magical Ways. Makes sense. Confronted by Magical Ways, and these two hook up early. Landoro's well settled right there in third, just to the outside of them. At the rail moving forward is Togadoro. 3 wide in that group. In 5th is Power Seeker. Chillax is under a tight hold here for Savachi, is in the 6th spot in between horses as they work to the backstretch. The orange cap, that's Georgia Magic. Also wanting to move forward is Ambition. Nowhere to go yet, and Valentinian right next to that rival. The 2 at the back is Run Quiet, Run Fast with the trailer. Neon Bordeaux. 24.74 for the opening quarter mile. They start to sort themselves out. It makes sense with a neck advantage. Magical Ways is right there. Here comes Landoro. Here comes Power Seeker. Here comes a 5-wide Georgia Magic, 50.33 for a half-mile time. Chillax is going to go towards the inside and gets an inside run now, is about to challenge for the 4th spot with less than a half-mile to go. Valentinian is now scrubbed along, is trying to run on from 7th. Dropping back quickly there was Togadoro. From the back also is Run Quiet, Run Fast, and then trying to launch a rally from the back is Ambition. The trailer Neon Bordeaux makes sense, has dispatched of Magical Ways. Chillax makes a big, quick move here at the rail, slicing on through now to the 2-path, and a slick move there for Chillax, who moves to the outside. Makes Sense as the target, but Chillax with a ground-saving journey found that trip, and Makes Sense is in for the fight. Chillax is not pushed on by yet. Makes Sense is a stubborn foe here for Luis Rivera Jr., now pulling away again. Makes Sense is back up by a length and a half and repelled the challenge of Chillax. Makes Sense with a big run and wins it. Makes Sense wins it over Chillax. Neon Bordeaux from the back in a photo. That's Georgia Magic with Landoro in 1 minute 52.02 seconds.
Makes Sense look like he was going to get a real challenge from the favorite Chillax, and then just puts that one away in the stretch.
Yeah, how he ended up on the lead, I'll never know. Obviously, Georgia Magic should have been on the lead. I don't know, what happened to break that sharply, but should have been in front. Once the Sirs got the lead in the rail, it was going to make things very tough for everybody else. It did look like Chillax had him measured, but Chillax doesn't ever have anybody measured.
Yeah, and let's give credit to the winner there. That was a perfect ride to be aggressive. He saw that there was a lack of pace. He saw that Georgia Magic didn't break that well and took advantage of that opportunity to get to the lead in there. Chillax he hung yet again, and they got to try something else, I think, next time.
And, to be fair, the winner had run a respectable race last time, and he has some other decent races. Yeah. He had a lot of things go his own way, but he really powered away from Chillax, who, if Chillax couldn't get it done today, when is he going to win? The race was gift wrap for him. He saved ground the whole way, and he just got completely outfinished.
Put away in the stretch at 7-5, 11-1 upset in this 9th, with, again, the withers to come. Let's go back to Oaklawn.
Second of 4 stakes races here. General MacArthur. Let's meet the field. There's Super Cruise, like Dakota, owned by Tom Durant, trained by Ray Ashford.
A very talented horse that has a little trouble getting out of the gate on time, wants to lug in a little bit, but he has a tremendous amount of ability.
You're excited about watching him today. 7-2 currently. Super Cruise, creative minister, first after the claim, Tim Martin.
Coming off a claim, he's going to have to improve a bit, but he's a closing type in a race with not much speed.
Sir Graylin, runner-up in last year's General MacArthur.
Well, his faced top flight company, but he's a closer without any speed.
Gun Party, stakes debut for the $1.7 million 5-year-old.
The one time he showed speed in Saratoga, he went gate to wire. Will he revert to those tactics? As normally he's more of a closing type.
MacMahon, third behind Rattle and Roll in the Tinsel.
Yeah, horse that can kind of get some position, but again, not a true speed type.
And the favorite, Energized, Luis Saez, aboard a date with Dakota later. There he is in the Godolphin Blue.
A horse that naturally can be closer, but you got to handicap jockeys too. Luis Saez is able to get more speed out of horses.
Number 11 at 6-1, first division runner-up in the Coach New Year's weekend.
Horse ran once on the dirt in the third leg of Canada's Triple Crown, and it was his best race. He's getting back to dirt now.
Yeah, runaway again. There's first division there. My mistake.
My
we
mistake.
saw the Prince of Wales win a runaway again. We have first division on the outside there, 6-1 with Manny Esquivel aboard.
I think they'll give first division his best chance if they allow him to go to the lead. There's no real confirmed front runner in here. He's got an outside draw, and he comes out of some sharp pace races where they went sub 47 half miles. I think Manny Esquivel is aggressive. He can maybe control this from the start.
Your top selection, yes, at 6-1.
Yes, because of the way I believe the race is going to shape up. He's already defeated Super Cruise, I think, with a better trip, but I think he projects to get a better trip again because of his ability to be close.
Over to Megan for more on first division.
Well, guys, I have no idea how First Division is 6-1 off of that 4-1 morning line, considering he ran the race of his life last time out. Being able to capture the coach, well, excuse me, just being beaten to not capture the coach, but he was very close. He has just been tremendous, not only in his races, but per Kenny McPeak. He's been training incredibly well, keeping himself well. He was actually at the fairgrounds, didn't miss as much training as maybe some others here at Oaklawn Park. And as I mentioned, he does go longer. He contends with that outside draw, and I think Mig hit on it. The complexion of this race, there's no real controlling speed. Is he going to be able to go from the outside? That should be, to me, the tactics for him, and I think that he's surely kind of that now horse, and right now, an overlay. And then number 3, Super Cruise for Ray Ashford Jr., perhaps on the cusp of a big day. I mean, this horse looks fantastic. I thought he did last time out as well, where he earned that 92 Beyer speed figure, and man, he is just a looker in the flesh. He's just a well-muscled, powerful colt, but as Megan mentioned as well, he is up against this race flow as a closer, not a lot of speed. Hopefully, perhaps, Rafael Bejarano can get him a little bit more tactically placed, because he is also a now horse that's never been off the board and has all the upside in the world with 2 wins here at Oaklawn Park to his credit. But I landed on the number 6 Gun Party, and here's why. I know he's a $1.7 million son of Curlin who hasn't quite maybe turned out to those expectations, but he gets Jose Ortiz back aboard, and I think that's key. When you go down his form lines, that's the jockey that was responsible for getting him out in front and getting him to the winner's circle, and I think that's exactly what the tactics will be in this race yet again, as he makes his stakes debut, that $1.7 million son of Karina Mia, who has been kind of unproductive, but what an accomplished mare she was, and I'm hoping that Gun Party can trip out in this General MacArthur.
Beautifully bred, expensive, first stakes race of his career, Gun Party. As you look at Super Cruise, Ray Ashford, among the biggest days of his training career, live look. There he is, later with Decode in a $1 million Kentucky Derby prep race. But first things first with Super Cruise for Ashford, who he says farther the better. That first time running this 9 furlongs, that he should love the mile and an eighth. And in terms of tactics, Ashford indicating, look, this is who he's a closer.
Yes.
Regardless of how much speed there might be out in front of him, that's how he's most effective, with a target out in front of him. Indicating he felt he would be well off the pace once again.
Well, and he doesn't break particularly well, so it kind of sets up his trip. I was here when he made his debut, and he was way back, and he made this tremendous middle move. I mean, he passed the entire field before they got to the half-mile pole, and it's unsustainable. And he still ran second. He nearly won. Now, he has 2 bad habits. He doesn't break particularly sharp, and he wants to lug in a little bit. Rafael Bejarano is a terrific rider. One of the things that Rafael Bejarano does not do well is use his left-handed crop very well. This is a horse that Christian Torres has been riding, who is very good with his left hand. So I hope that Rafael Bejarano is ready for him if he does decide he wants to lug in today.
On Super Cruise, learn a lot more about Ray Ashford later on in the broadcast as we get closer to the Southwest Stakes this evening. And Super Cruise, this is what you were talking about, Richie, his latest appearance, a New Year's weekend allowance company. He's favored Super Cruise and just starting to find his best stride.
Yeah, and you can see him, and Christian Torres was very patient. He was able to angle out into the stretch, so he got to save some ground. You see he runs with his head out and down. That's typical of an Uncle Mo offspring, right? So he's got this big, beautiful, long stride. And this was the best he was as far as not wanting to lug in. You see late, right? He's wanting to get down over on top of that horse a little bit, but Christian Torres knew him so well. He's the only jockey he's ridden him so far. He winds up on a, excuse me if I can find it real quick, on the 10 horse, Runaway Again, who's 1 for 1 on dirt, winning a jewel of the Canadian Triple Crown.
Prince of Wales.
Yeah,
winner.
So
Lone Start on dirt.
It's a horse like this. I think it's helpful when a rider has kind of an intimate knowledge of them.
5-2 favorite is Energized. Number 5, Sir Graylin. For trainer Kenny McPeak, Brian Hernandez was on this day a couple of years ago, teamed up with Mystic Dan, won the Derby. You know the rest of that story. McPeak indicating about Sir Graylin just how well he is doing right now and how much of a big shot that he gives him in this General MacArthur, as we're listening to Matt Dinnerman announce that there is a scratch, a defection, Runaway Again, late scratch, Runaway Again out of this General MacArthur. Does that change anything about how the race figures to be run, Richie?
No, I don't think so. I think he would have been another horse that would have been just off the pace. I thought he was a player because that one dirt race. Obviously, something amiss today. They'll go over him, and there'll be another day.
Few moments here before this General MacArthur. We go back to New York and check in with Acacia.
And Lafitte, we have a really special story that we've been following in today's Withers. Schoolyard Superman has some pretty special owners here. So I'm very pleased to be joined by Amanda Jessup and Carla Shop, who have gotten a chance to reunite now as microshare owners with Schoolyard Superman. Amanda, let's start with you. Goes back to the skip-away days.
Yeah, 1996. I was 12 years old. I mean, over 25 years ago, and Carla and I have kept in touch, and it's just so ironic that now we're both microshares of another great, hopefully a great racehorse that will become great. So.
Pretty exciting, and a big step here with the Withers, Kentucky Derby prep, Carla, after all this time to be reunited, and in this way as well as a horse owner this time.
Yeah, it was very exciting. I couldn't wait to see her. It was so emotional. And
you told me you have a gray addiction, too.
Yeah, gray horses, I can't control. Anytime it's a gray horse that has a microshare, I'm like, okay, I got to buy that one. It's like, so I'm trying to control myself. But yes, we both fell in love with Skip Away from the Bluegrass, and it just kept going. And she got a gray horse, you know, and we just both love grays, and it's so great.
And such an exciting thing to follow, and to be here as well has to be pretty rewarding to see the way that he won last time and now taking this step today, Amanda.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely saw something in his last race that resembled a little bit of Skip Away, so that kind of like caught my attention, and we're really excited. I think he's going to run good today.
Wishing you both the best of luck. So happy to have you here, and such a special reunion as well. Greg, a story with Schoolyard Superman that definitely easy to root for.
They talked about that fan club. It was about 500 members or so, and then just how so many friendships like that one have remained over the years. And now we'll see if Schoolyard Superman can get these two into the Triple Crown picture.
Well, Skip Away is one of the great horses of all time that never gets the respect he deserves. Whether or not this is a Derby horse remains to be seen. I think he's good, Jackson, but how confident are we he wants to go this far?
Yeah, that's the biggest question I have for him in this spot, because the pedigree doesn't exactly scream 2 turns. You see Practical Joke is the sire, and those horses typically are better going around 1 turn. But I will say, just watching him visually, the way he finished off his most recent race especially, I think he might be able to be up to the task.
Well, and I also, he looks to be on paper to be the clear inside speed, which is obviously an advantage, and maybe even a bigger one going 2 turns. So he is my pick here because I think he can take advantage of the racetrack. It's interesting. He's not favored in doubles, but he's a heavy favorite on the board and in the pick 3 as well. I think the track may help carry him home, but it might be a situation where it kind of creates an illusion that he wants to go farther than he does.
Right, and I'm not so sure he's going to make the lead in here. I know he was on the lead last time, but there are a couple others towards the outside that seem to be running faster early on in their races. And with them having the outside posts and given today's racetrack, I got to imagine those horses are going to be hell-bent on making the lead.
I wouldn't want to be Manny Franco if he doesn't make the lead in this race.
5 3/4 length win last time out. That was at a mile when he was basically on the lead. Stablemate, though, next door with that big pedigree. Half-brother to the Hall of Famer gun runner. And the longer, probably the better, you would think, with this pedigree. He comes off a maiden win as well.
And I'll tell you something, Jackson. At the prices they are now, 7-5 and 3-1, I think there's a chance it sits like that. I think he's a better bet at 3-1.
I'd agree, and I got to admit I was wrong, and you were right. I thought this horse would be favored in here, and this is a big odds discrepancy. He ran well last time. He took a challenge on the far turn last time, put away a rival, got another challenge right here by his stablemate in the number 2, and he puts away this horse as well. I thought this was a big step up in his career start number 2.
Is it more a function of just how this track is playing, why it's sort of a role reversal?
Yes.
In terms of favoritism?
I believe that you would have. The reason I thought the 2 would be favored is that the public is acutely aware of how the racetrack is playing. So I think that that's the reason the 2 is a substantial favorite. I think on a fair racetrack, it would have been more of a coin flip. And the horse that Otinho. You know I'll never get it. Otinho. Hadrian's Wall, the horse he beat, had run second, run very well in a maiden race prior to that, and I think he's a very promising horse for Chad Brown as well.
Cross-country sequence begins with the Withers, includes our other Kentucky Derby prep from Oaklawn today. We'll close out with that one, the Grade 3 Southwest, that full field that will line up in Hot Springs. Let's send it back to Hot Springs now with Lafitte and Mig.
Had the late defection, slight delay, but now good to go for this General MacArthur. Final thoughts, Richie, as they have reached the starting gate.
Well, in a race that doesn't appear to be a tremendous amount of speed signed on, one of two things is going to happen. First division's going to get loose, or 3 or 4 are going to read the form the way I did and try to send their horse, and we're going to get a quicker pace than we anticipate.
About to find out with Ray Ashford looking on. Maybe he can rack up a pair of stakes victories this afternoon. Super Cruise here, decode later. Named after the Arkansas native who served at the highest levels of the Army, General MacArthur. It is post time in the late pick 5. Live, race 8 from Oaklawn. Here's Matt Dinnerman.
We're ready to go. And they're off in the General MacArthur Overnight Stakes. MacMan gets the first call of the race, is on top. Super Cruise taking second with Gun Party on restraint early. Energize in a good gallop. In the bridle taking third in a good position, 3 deep. Super Cruise going to the lead. MacMan takes a hold. He'll track right behind in second. So it's Super Cruise into the turn, a clear leader. Not going all that fast here. Leads by a length and a half from MacMan running in second. Energize on his tail third. Gun Party's down on the rail. He's in the 4th position, 2 ahead of First Division. The gray Creative Minister drops to the back. Sir Grayland is 3 wide. Getting a little bit closer. Sir Grayland now with his stablemate First Division. The 2 Kenny McPeak entrants are 4 behind in the 3rd last and 2nd last spot respectively. Down the back stretch, Super Cruise went 24-1 for that first quarter. Leads a half length, 3 parts maybe. MacMan second, Energized third. Gun Party wants to go. Still on a hold by Jose Ortiz down on the inside. Length and a half to First Division. Sir Grayland to his outside, and the long shot Creative Minister can only see backside, but he's only 5 behind as they're compact with a half mile to go. Super Cruise, he went off as the 9-5 favorite. Leads 3 parts of a length, now a half. MacMan closer in second as they start to quicken the pace. Energizes 3 wide in third. Gun Party down on the inside 4th, nickeled along a little bit. Sir Grayland has come under a hard ride. First Division is being confidently ridden. He has horse here, First Division. Behind horses right now, searching for a spot. And then comes Creative Minister as they come to the top of the lane. Super Cruise off the turn, still in front. MacMan under pressure in second, Energized third. Super Cruise going for the finish. MacMan alongside now, putting up a strong rally. Sir Grayland took him a while to get going, and First Division is coming on down the outside now. First Division rolling on the grandstand side, needs to catch MacMan. Super Cruise, First Division, MacMan between them fighting. MacMan held off First Division, and Super Cruise to win at 20-1, giving Abel Cedillo a double. Their 4th home was Gun Party.
Wild finish and an upset in between horses. MacMan not to be denied in the General MacArthur Stakes. Wow.
What a good race. No speed on whatsoever. Super Cruise actually broke better, wound up making the lead. MacMan had better position. He's battling in between. Keep an eye on the 11. When he was making his run First Division after hitting the stall doors, he broke out into the stall doors. Almost looked like he wanted to lean over and take a bite out of MacMan, and it slowed his momentum down. Right there, you almost see he just kind of turned his head a little bit and pinned his ears. And for a split second, I said, we're going to see Forense Fire.
Go after Yao Pound again.
He certainly thought about it, that's for sure. But I think it actually cost him the race.
Thriller in the General MacArthur 7-3, 11-6. And when we return, time for a Derby prep in New York as the road to the Wood Memorial continues. The Withers is next with horses in the paddock. We'll be right back.
Say hello to Move. It's a 1-horse race. Very professional and very fast. Move, rolling home by 4 in fine style.
Muth, the son of good magic, coming down the stretch in Hot Springs to win it.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Prince of Monaco's too good for Moose, an impressive winner of the best pal. Miramardi's all hot, but Prince of Monaco too good.
Prince of Monaco, standing at Claiborne Farm.
This winter, give the gift of racing with Naira Bets gift card. Share your passion with friends and family or instantly fund your account. Choose the amount and redeem online. Find gift cards under the promotions tab at NairaBets.com. Saturday delivers coast-to-coast Super Stakes action on Naira Bets. Start fast with a 2,500 win bet hit and split on select stakes races, then finish strong with a 2,500 hit and split on the late pick 5 at Tampa Bay Downs. Play and win with Naira Bets.
Uncle Heavy is trying to commence a rally, is making hard work of it. Light line and deposition on the grandstand side, but El Grandeo is still there. El Grandeo, here comes a run from Uncle Heavy, and Uncle Heavy in between horses. Deposition on the far outside, light line right there. El Grandeo needs the wire. Uncle Heavy late, it's a photo finish.
Andy and I, we love this performance in the Withers from back in 2024. He had no right to win this race, completely against the racetrack, and just kept grinding and grinding away for Butch Reed.
We loved him forever after that. He never ran another race even comparable to it.
He didn't. I had the 4 that day. I bet the rail bias. I have no idea how he got the job done. It was very impressive.
Incredible. Incredible performance, and Butch Reed back for more fun in the Withers. We'll send out Milata, the 5, 7-2 right now, who has raced exclusively at Parks to this point.
And I know he has a blowout win last time in a 3-horse field. I just wonder if he's good enough to beat these horses.
7-2 on the board for Butch Reed. Let's head downstairs to Acacia.
And we'll take a look at the 2 Chad Brown runners, starting off with the favorite, Schoolyard Superman. Great story with the ownership aside, as you guys were mentioning. The question is the distance with him. Now, I actually got a chance to interview Chad Brown down at Payson Park last week and speak to him about his 2 runners in here. And he was adamant that he was not concerned about the distance for Schoolyard Superman, thought that he trained like a horse that should be able to go longer, and said that if he had not had that unfortunate situation where he was squeezed down on the rail on debut, they really were expecting him to win, and he looked like he was making the winning move that day as well. Now, I was wondering, with the pedigree, as you mentioned, being by Practical Joke, and the dam is the sister to Crazy Mason, who is a better sprinter, though he's quite a big horse. Looking at Schoolyard Superman in the paddock, I'm convinced. He looks like a horse that should be able to handle the distance and go the 1 1/8 in here. He's bright, he's happy, he's strengthened, he's filled out. Maybe they hadn't anticipated 3 starts in the maiden ranks for him, but I actually think it might have done him some good. Now, the number 3, Otinho, definitely no questions with distance as far as his pedigree is concerned, being the half-brother to Horse of the Year Gun Runner, and also the full brother to Pretty Anna, who won the Come Lane, was effective at the distance as well. He has a lot of length to his frame, much more stretchy than Gun Runner was actually too. He definitely looks like distance. He also really strikes me as the type of horse that just is still figuring things out. Sometimes these kind of big, bullish colts know how to throw their weight around and have ability, and it's raw talent that hasn't really been molded mentally. And he kind of strikes me as that type of horse as well. I think he should definitely suit the distance, but I think he's also a horse, maybe like his older brother, who will get better with seasoning. Greg?
Here is grittiness. Blinkers come off. This horse still has not won yet.
I think he's dangerous. Connection's looking for their 3rd win, a stake race today, and he could get a right trip staying on the rail the whole way.
Here is the 1-2 for Chad Brown, Schoolyard Superman.
Yeah, he's big favorite as of right now, and if he runs back to the last race, he should be very tough. Got to get the 2 turns, though.
The half-brother to the Hall of Famer Gun Runner. Here's Otinho.
I'm not sure at 3-1 he's not the one I want, even though I picked the 2. I think this is a very fair price. Can he work out the right trip?
Biggest price on the board, Star Sweeper.
Yeah, one of 2 park shippers in this race. He needs to get a lot faster to be competitive.
See how close Melada is to the front end here for Butch Reed.
Yeah, I think this horse is an underlay on the board. I don't know what kind of trip the horse can work out, and I don't know if he's really good enough.
Rudy Rodriguez sending out Talk to Me. Jimmy coming off a win against New York Breds.
He's another one that has a lot of speed in this race, and the horse that finished 2nd in the most recent race did come back to win a stake.
And Jeremiah Engelhardt Barn, 4th and 1, New York bred on the outside.
We'll let Jackson talk about him more after the post parade. If he could ever clear, he could win. I don't know how he can work out that trip. I think he's pretty good, though.
Going to have to try and use that speed because that first turn, you can get floated very wide early. It comes up very quick. Double-digit odds. That's a little surprising here. 10-1 on 4th and 1 as we take a look at the New York road to the Derby. Withers today 20 points to the winner to get into that starting gate for the Kentucky Derby. And then the Gotham worth 50 points February 28th. And the Wood Memorial, the big one, 100 points to the winner, 50 points to the runner-up on April 4th.
I won't be surprised to see the impressive winner of the Champagne, Napoleon Solo, make his return to Gotham.
Incredibly impressive performance, passed on the Breeders' Cup. As we take a look at Otinho, 3-1 right now. Big disparity between these stablemates from the Chad Brown barn. Here's his maiden win back on December 31st.
Yeah, I think you'd see them much closer in odds if the public wasn't aware of the bias on the track. You know, and the best thing they could do is leave with him and try to find a tuck in behind Schoolyard Superman. Hope the pace gets too fast and he can utilize that. If he does, two things would happen. You want to get that position over grittiness, and he could get the right trip.
Yeah, and I think he could, because grittiness is not exactly the fastest horse out of the gate. And I agree with you, Andy. I think the plan has got to be just follow the stablemate. Let the horse clear off and get as close to the rail as you can.
Chad Brown with a couple of wins in this race, risk-taking back in 2021. Of course, early voting in 2022, who would go on to win the Preakness Middle Jewel of the Triple Crown. And someone on our desk was in that winner's circle that day.
I was. I broke into the winner's circle and got my picture taken. I can't get it taken here, so I had to go out of town to do it.
Jackson, your thoughts? Let's go back to 4th and 1, who you like in this spot as he gets set for his 3-year-old debut.
I do like him in this spot, and I'll admit I liked him a lot better last week when he had the inside post, but I still think he might be the speed of the speed in this race, despite the outside draw. And this most recent race that's on the screen right now, this is a race that had two big favorites. He was one of them, and they kind of hooked up throughout the field or early on in that race. And he put away that horse. The other speed finished dead last. He was even money in that spot, and he drew off against everyone else and won very nicely and actually beat a next out winner as well.
They have to try and use this horse's speed, don't they?
They have to. The problem that I have is that Talk to Me Jimmy, the 6, and the 5, Maleta, they both have enough speed that I think he's got to really work to get around him. If he didn't have horses inside of him that had sort of tertiary speed, it would be easier. He's a very big price, and he's run well enough to suggest he's a contender. I just don't know on this racetrack how he gets a winning trip.
Well, we showed you Butch Reed with a win in this race, Uncle Heavy, a couple of years ago, and now he brings in a runner from Parks who's won 3 in a row in Ben Salem. Let's go to Acacia for more.
Yeah, Butch Reed is always dangerous when shipping here to New York. And as far as Mailata is concerned, he did have that open length score in a short field last time out. But as he stretches out in distance today, from a purely physical perspective and the way that he's put together, he has a lot of substance to him, though he's not the tallest. He's very strong and well built. It's just he's been a little bit green throughout. He did not want to link with the lead pony. They insisted on linking him up, and he just was kind of trying to throw his head, step sideways, just looking a little bit bewildered out there on the track. Now, obviously, he hasn't run in New York. I'm not familiar with him. I don't know if this is typical for him. He has settled down a bit now, which I do appreciate as they come closer to the starting gate, and I think that that's definitely a positive. But that was just a little something that gave me a cause for pause. But he does have a long stride when in motion. Now, the number one, grittiness. I also got a chance to speak to Todd Pletcher about the equipment change with the blinkers coming off. They've also changed the bit. They put a cage bit on him for just one start last time out in the Remsen. It's right back to a ring bit today. And Todd said that they just didn't really feel like they got anything out of the equipment changes last time. So blinkers coming right back off. He looks far better today than he did last time in the Remsen. We'll see if this might be the time where he can take a step forward and break his maiden in a big way, Greg.
All right, Acacia, thank you. There is the second of the pair of Chad Brown runners. Otinho steps into the gate. The half-brother to gun runner, the Hall of Famer Schoolyard Superman, though. His stablemate is the 7-5 favorite with his speed and drawn inside the way this racetrack is playing. 20 points to the winner to get into the starting gate for this year's Kentucky Derby in the Withers. Let's go upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call.
The 146th running of the Withers. $200,000. 4th and 1. Last to load. All set. And they're off in the Withers. And breaking outward was 4th and 1. Jamie Rodriguez stays aboard, but will be the early trailer. Schoolyard Superman right to the front. Has the speed, and it's Schoolyard Superman to take him into the turn. Cornering wide was Talk to Me Jimmy, and Ruben Silvera, they're about in the 3 path, now moving closer, and they're going to challenge and take the lead. Talk to Me Jimmy is now confronted and taken the lead away from Schoolyard Superman, who's back to second. Little awkward, tough to handle was My Lotta. Just had to steady, is alone in third as they work to the backstretch. Otinho is a well-settled fourth. Then behind them, 4th and 1 is Wide. The gray towards the back end of the field, Star Sweeper had a little trouble with grittiness as they went into the turn together, and they work up the backstretch, and 23 and 4 was that opening quarter mile for Talk to Me Jimmy, who gets over to the rail. Schoolyard Superman now switches to the outside to the 2 path, and My Lotta's in pursuit 3 wide. 48.18 for a half-mile time. Otinho has been passed by Star Sweeper, who's now taken 4th. 4th and 1 is out wider in 5th as Otinho is shoved along and not making up the ground. The trailer is grittiness. They work into the far turn, and Talk to Me Jimmy is still there, and Talk to Me Jimmy is finding more. Talk to Me Jimmy has opened up quickly by 3-4 widening lengths. Schoolyard Superman is an all-in second. My Lotta's dropped out of it. Star Sweeper, Otinho 4th and 1. Grittiness starts to run on from the back, but can Talk to Me Jimmy keep this going? A quarter mile left to go. Talk to Me Jimmy reaches the top of the stretch. Schoolyard Superman is trying to pick up this leader who's sprinting clear. It's Talk to Me Jimmy. Still Schoolyard Superman battling on grittiness, but with a furlong left to go. Talk to Me Jimmy is just opening up here. Talk to Me Jimmy, Ruben Silvera, they are going to dominate with a front-running score in the Withers. Grittiness up for second, Otinho third, and Schoolyard Superman in 1 minute 51.68 seconds.
Talk to Me Jimmy winning trainer Rudy Rodriguez. He probably wasn't expecting this kind of performance. Not many were.
I think this horse was in a full-out drive for the entire 9 furlongs. If you have a speed-biased inside track and you want the lead, you can't do any better than Ruben Silvera.
He deserves a ton of credit for that ride. I mean, he had a plan, and the plan was to make the front at all costs. He knew what the way the racetrack has been playing today. He took full advantage of it, and it worked out to perfection.
Yeah, give a lot of credit to him and Rudy Rodriguez. They had a plan. They knew the track was going, and their point was, we're going to lead at all costs. I think Manny Franco, I don't know what Manny really could have done, because the truth is you didn't want to give up the lead, but this horse was being so aggressively ridden that I'm not sure he could have done anything about it.
Just blows this field away. 151 and 3 final time. Ruben Silvera, what a heads-up ride to just take it to him early here. Let's go back to the start, Andy.
Yeah, well, I can't tell from that. I mean, Your 7 broke out a little bit. The 1 can't get out of the gate, but I think this was just a determined effort by Ruben to get a horse to the front. And I guess that he and Rudy felt like our only chance to win this race is to get to the front end.
Right, and that's exactly what they did. And, you know, there's a point right before they go down the backside where Manny had a chance to maybe come through again and reestablish lead. He chose not to do that. He chose to let the 6 go. And that may have ended up being the difference in the race.
I agree. I don't know what he really, if he could have been. Ruben was so aggressively riding this horse that I think in a way it was sort of intimidating. And I think Manny thought, I'm going to get into a duel with this horse. We're going to go too fast, and then, you know, it's going to leave me with nothing. So he ended up doing something that's not good on this racetrack, but I'm just not sure that Ruben left him any choice.
Right.
He was just so determined to get the lead.
And you had to think at some point this horse going that aggressive early is going to back up at some point. Just never happened. 6-1-3-2. Talk to Me Jimmy. It's a New York bred in the Withers with the victory here. Rudy Rodriguez, SEI Thoroughbreds. Rudy owns part of this one as well, and Ruben Silvera aboard for the dominant score. 20 points to get into that Kentucky Derby starting gate if they so choose. The first Saturday in May. We'll be back with more right after this. Back with you on our Friday coverage of America's Day at the Races. One Derby prep down, another to come out in Hot Springs with the Grade 3 Southwest. You can play all the action by getting signed up at NYRA Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. It's a New York bred on the road to the Kentucky Derby in the Withers. Talk to me, Jimmy, Rudy Rodriguez, Ruben Silvera. Our Winter Circle lead-in brought to you by the Fasig-Tipton Kentucky Winter Mix Sale, scheduled for February 9th in Lexington, Kentucky. Enter now at FasigTipton.com. What a performance. Went to the front, just an aggressive ride from the get-go.
Yeah, and again, it was all about the ride in there. They had a plan, and they were going to make the front no matter how fast they went. They said, we'll see what happens down the lane, and that's exactly what happened, and it worked out.
So talk to me, Jimmy. A little hard to imagine coming into this race, but you can get a lot of surprises on this Derby trail.
Yeah, you can, and taking nothing away from them, and I love the plan they had. It's, you're going to see some odd results sometimes if the track gets biased, and it's one of those frustrating things, but he won so easily that you got to give him a lot of credit in their bias or not. And I just love, even though I could never have had this horse, when a rider and a trainer seem to have a plan and they execute as well as they did.
Agreed, and we saw it work out today. It worked out to perfection. I'd be curious how he does next time, though. Obviously, hopefully on a more fair racetrack. I'm not going to completely discount him, but I do want to see him do it again.
Agreed.
For now, they're going to relish this Derby prep win, as they should. It was impressive, no matter how this track is playing, and want to keep our eyes on next time out in this Withers. And meanwhile, back to the drawing board for Chad Brown with his two runners. Let's go downstairs to Acacia.
I'm very happy to be joined by the winning connections here. Rudy Rodriguez, Dustin Pusateri. Okay. And Julian is here as well. We got the whole family. But Dustin, let's start with you. Julian coming in as well. How exciting to win the Withers with a New York bred like that.
We're very excited. We're just happy to do it with him, and really appreciate the hardest work in the game, honestly, by far. It really is.
Rudy, I know you had high hopes for this horse. Obviously, distance not a problem, but him getting out to the front end, he was just able to go every step of the way.
Since we put the blinkers on and he's been training lights out, I just got to thank the brothers for being that patient, because we got little setback, but everything worked out for a reason, and we're just blessed to have this horse over here and doing what we love to do.
What was the thought process and off a New York bred maiden win going right into the Withers with him?
We don't think he's a New York bred, so we'll let you guys decide that.
He doesn't know, right? Julian, yes, Pusateri as well. Myers. All right, there we go. We got it. I think I said it a little bit now, though. But talk to me a little bit about that performance, the way that he was able to extend.
We were happy with what happened. I mean, we knew that he wanted to go to the front, and he just had to be let go, and he took it from there.
Well done to Ruben Silvera, letting him do that. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Greg?
Doesn't matter where it happens, how it happens, to win any kind of race on the road to the Kentucky Derby, it's special.
No question about it. I mean, a lot can change, and he is a this is his third start, so he has a lot of upside. And who knows at this point? Listen, this is a good year to have a horse that's improving, because there are not any killers out there as of now.
Agreed, and especially after we heard about Ted Noffey coming out off the Triple Crown Trail, I'm really excited for the next 24 hours. I'm hoping we're going to finally get some answers about who to really look forward to moving forward.
I mean, I think Nearly's the favorite after last week's Holy Bull, but there's so many races left to go.
Yeah, Ted Noffey, that was huge news. Of course, the 2-year-old champion who was undefeated, Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner off the trail, but hopefully coming back much later in the year, but not going to make it in time for the Triple Crown. We're going to take a timeout. An incredible auction happening that will include, horse racing fans, get ready, the saddle of the great Secretariat on that Triple Crown sweep in 1973. Stay with us for a special interview coming up.
Look at these two juveniles going at it, and it is Forte.
It is Forte in front. Forte on to victory here in the Grade 1 hopeful.
The two of them coming down to the wire. Forte on the outside, and Forte to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Forte starts to gather in the top horses. This is going to be very close, but the champion prevails. Forte wins.
The Fasig-Tipton Kentucky Winter Mix Sale, a catalog featuring quality breeding stock, including stakes caliber racing and/or broodmare prospects, mares in foal to America's top sires, and a strong selection of short yearlings, producing success stories for buyers year after year. Don't miss the last mix sale before the breeding sheds open. The Kentucky Winter Mix Sale, February 9th at Fasig-Tipton in Lexington, Kentucky. Where will you be?
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Terrific Friday of thoroughbred racing. Welcome back. America's Day at the Races. On FS2, race 9 on tap. Post-parade good allowance race sprinters, $125,000 purse. Just saw the updated odds with an even money favorite. Vital Mind, we'll see him shortly. We start with Camp Evans at 32-1. Ran well in his first start for Bob Young.
He did. It was an easier group of horses, and he's got a difficult post, but that was a good effort.
Sweet as sin.
Yeah, horse, it just feels like he's going to have to get faster to be competitive.
Lumberg, 2 of his last 3 wins with Francisco Arrieta.
Hey, he's 3 for 13 at Oaklawn. Francisco Arrieta, last year's leading rider.
Vital Mind, the favorite, expensive colt, high-profile connections.
Buy Into Mischief has improved with every start and making a super impression physically.
Dual Monarchy, 6-year-old debut.
6-year-old debut, just another one. Feels like he's going to have to get faster, but he is turning back, which I think helps him.
Sharp Swinger, typically involved early.
Yeah, should be forward. You get Flavian Pratt for Mike Maker.
Usually Run Jalen Run pictured.
Horse that's run well at Oaklawn without winning. He's got 4 runner-up efforts here, but they were good efforts.
You like him a little bit.
He's a horse with a world of natural ability. I spent a lot of time around Aqueduct's barn, and this horse looks like he's doing well at the moment.
Heart and Soul outran his odds in his latest.
Should be forward, but the outside gives him options. Going to have to bring his A-plus game.
Finest Kind, Javier Castellano, 2 wins thus far.
Marcassi, the hottest barn in North America right now.
3 wins today, batting at about 500 at Oaklawn. Cassie, that's the one who draws in.
Yeah, another one that should be forward. He's turning back in distance. He's coming off a layoff, but he's a horse that should trip out, get the right kind of trip.
And finally, Clamp It draws in.
Yeah, it just feels like it would be a bit of a surprise, and particularly from way out there on that outside post.
Wind kicking up, breezy here in Hot Springs as we get ready for the late pick 4, race number 9. Another look at Vital Mind. Those colors you saw in the winner's circle following the 18 Belmont Stakes Triple Crown winner Justify. Jose Ortiz aboard Vital Mind. His maiden win, late November, Churchill Downs. He's favored Vital Mind and pokes his head in front, Richie, emerging with the lead, top of the stretch.
Yeah, he just sat a nice trip the entire way, and he was always in the bridle. When I talk about a horse being in the bridle, they're leaning on the rider, and it's easier for a rider to judge how much horse they have underneath them when a horse runs into the bit as opposed to kind of a loose line. He just kept finding. He kicked on nicely. He's reunited with Jose Ortiz after a nice effort last time. With a third-place finisher, Heart and Soul came back to win. He's formidable.
The Windstar White in that race there with the China Horse Club colors. Expensive colt, high-profile connections. For more on Vital Mind, we check it with Megan.
High-profile connections, high-profile pedigree for the 5 Vital Mind out of Grade 1 winner She's a Julie, who, of course, Steve also campaigned and has a little bit of a family tie as his wife, Julie, I believe, is the namesake of that Grade 1 winner. But this race kind of runs through Vital Mind. But also, he doesn't have this overwhelming edge on this field. He certainly looks like the upside, and I do appreciate the way he rated a bit last time out, where he was really showing speed in his first 2 starts, and then he was able to kind of sit back off of things and make a strong run behind a monster. And Stiglitz, who earned a 107 Beyer speed figure in front of him running Vital Mind running a 92 Beyer speed figure that day. And I don't think that as far as any missed training, he's gotten 2 works since that January the 3rd effort. He looks fantastic. I think there's a good amount of pace in this race. We'll see how it materializes. I think there's a few horses in here that will want to go at the 6 furlong distance. I think he'll be forwardly placed in tactical as he reunites with Jose Ortiz, who 2 back was aboard for his maiden victory. But the 8 Sharp Swinger, I thought was interesting, also a part of that early speed configuration, and he gets Lasix back, which I'm really excited to see if he can maybe turn a corner off of a less than desirable run there in the Silks last time out here. I think he'll be a part, as mentioned, as the pace early on the front end. He was caught in a fast pace last time out with no Lasix and faded. I'm thinking hopefully he gets to settle, he gets Flavien Prat aboard, and I believe there could be some improvement there for him with the added Lasix. But the 10 I'm also interested in, Richie. He looks absolutely fantastic. He's been working very well here at Oaklawn Park. He's got 3 actually very strong works out of the disappointing effort in the Silks, and I actually found he was pretty interesting in that restricted stakes last time out. So he's dropping down in class, a sprint pedigree. I think that he is a sprinter through and through, and I think he's really taken a step forward physically as well for the Ron Moquette barn, Lafitte.
Some positive vibes, Richie, for the 10-1 shot. You like him?
Yeah, I mean, this is a horse that I was so impressed last year when he broke his maiden first time. And then, you know, everybody with a good 3-year-old that time of year wants to find out if maybe they have a potential Kentucky Derby type horse. So he went right from a 6 furlong race.
You have a Talk to Me Jimmy on your hands.
Well, exactly, right? A horse that dragged Ruben Silvera to the lead around the far turn. He's basically running off with him, and Ruben just said, okay, here, I'll give you the reins. Go ahead. Because he did try to rate him around the first turn. Talk to Me Jimmy was having none of it. But him, you know, they stretched him out. He was by McKinsey. They're looking to do that. I think he's really a sprinter. I think he's doing well right now. And I think he's well placed with Luis Saez at a big price. Listen, I have no false illusions. Vital Mind is going to be very tough to beat.
What about Sharp Swinger number 8 with Flavien Prat in the saddle? What do you make of his chances?
Well, he comes off that big effort at Churchill Downs, and, you know, Megan was talking about it with Lasix that day. Last time in a stakes race, they're not allowed to compete on Lasix. He threw in the towel. He gets Lasix back, and he also gets Flavien Prat, your 2-time Eclipse Award-winning rider, back-to-back.
Like an MVP for jockeys, the Eclipse Award, Prat and Sharp Swinger, but the favorite, odds on now, Vital Mind, 4-5 at post time, the 9th race live from Oaklawn Park on the Southwest Stakes Friday. Once again, here's Matt Dinnerman.
Heart and Soul goes forward, still working with Camp Evans. Finest Kind to post 12. Camp Evans to the inside post, about to load. They're working with him just about in. Now he's in. Finest Kind, post position 12. Here's Lundberg in the red jacket. Vital Mind, the favorite. Big one at that, 4-5, walking in with Jose Ortiz. Zat's the one, Rafael Bejarano. Then the gray Dual Monarchy with Kelsey Haar. 2 back, Sharp Swinger and Flavien Prat. And then Clamp It in the Martha Washington Stakes winning jockey Christian Torres. Sharp Swinger goes in. Here's Clamp It to the outside. We're ready to go. And Laroff. Dual Monarchy took up at the start, drops to the back. A cavalry charge on the lead. Vital Mind is there. Finest Kind and Tight S to steady hard down the back stretch run. Zat's the one is moving forward to contest the pace with Sharp Swinger. Him in the line. Run Jalen Run in that group. Clamp It is 5 wide on the track. With Vital Mind, he's going to take back and sit off a quintet of runners who line up on the lead here. Vital Mind in a good position. He's 5th now, racing within 5 lengths of the lead, going into the far turn. Heart and Soul's alongside of him. Then Lundberg, Camp Evans to the inside. Space of 6 to Finest his kind who's dropped out of it here. Sweet as Sin, Dual Monarchy at the tail end of the field together. Around the far turn, Sharp Swinger, nose in front of him. Run Jalen Run under a hard ride to keep up. He's right there battling for the win. These three across the track on the lead with Clampett right behind, and Zat's the one who's 4 deep off the turn. Vital Mind's getting into it. He's going to get to the outside for the stretch drive to down the lane here. Him in the 3-path comes looking for the lead, but Vital Mind's coming on the scene down the center of the track, and Vital Mind is all the momentum going to the front now. Dual Monarchy from a mile behind coming up into second, but it's Vital Mind the favorite. He's going to get the job done. Vital Mind to win. Dual Monarchy was second. Photo for the show, though. Sharp Swinger and him, and then Run Jalen Run.
Steered in the clear and just takes off. Does Vital Mind. The favorite delivers in the 9th at Oaklawn Park for Steve Asmussen. China Horse Club Windstar. Jose Ortiz, the winning pilot.
Really nice horse here with a ton of ability. Feels like this is even another step forward for him. And what a heads-up ride by Jose Ortiz. Broke sharp, was up in that kind of phalanx of horses. And it was like a Texas steel cage match up on the lead. 5 horses dueling. Jose eased back, got his horse to settle, angled out to the clear, and it was like he just had jumped in at the quarter pole, breath of fresh air. Really nice effort.
The acceleration hits that winning gear and takes off. Beautifully bred, $600,000 colt, lightly raced, a 4-year-old Richie's, just his 4th career start.
And there's a lot of upside. I think he's going to continue to take steps forward. I think this is a horse that's going to make some noise in the older horse sprint division this year.
Vital Mind, impressive at Oaklawn. 5, 6, 8, 10 results when we come back. Plus, widely considered among the greatest performances by an athlete, any athlete ever. Secretariat 73 Belmont Stakes, 31 lengths in the end, Triple Crown Glory, and the saddle used by Hall of Fame jockey Ron Turcotte, part of an auction next month in New York City.
if there's a more famous piece of sports memorabilia from the sport of horse racing that will ever be auctioned off than the saddle of the great Secretariat that was worn during the Triple Crown sweep back in 1973. That's just one of several items in an incredible auction from Christie's. One of the greatest collections of instruments, sports, movie, and pop culture memorabilia from the late Jim Irsay, former owner of the Indianapolis Colts. It's going to happen in March. Joining us right now is Natalie Furno, specialist of private and iconic collections at Christie's. Thank you for joining us. You join us from San Francisco, that saddle behind you. Tell us about some of the highlights of what's going to be auctioned off.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I mean, obviously, the saddle right behind me is definitely a highlight. As you said, this is the Triple Crown saddle of Secretariat. Again, you said it all. It's probably the most iconic sports moment of the 20th century. I mean, I got chills just watching that replay just now. But that's just one of the highlights from this incredible collection. Moving into the music section, a Fender Mustang that was from the Smells Like Teen Spirit music video. We have Jerry Garcia's famous guitar Tiger, David Gilmour's Black Strat. I mean, the list goes on and on. Jim Irsay was an incredible collector across many categories, and we're really excited to be working on the sale now.
Just, yeah, simply an incredible collection. How does Christie's try and put some sort of value on something like that saddle from Secretariat?
I mean, yeah, it's not easy. I mean, it's a one-of-one masterpiece, right? We're looking at you're comparing it to other exciting or one-of-a-kind sports objects, like you're looking at Babe Ruth jerseys, Lou Gehrig jerseys, top hockey lots, things like that. But no, it's an auction. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a really, really exciting moment.
What about opportunities for the public who want to be able to see these items before they're auctioned off?
Yeah, so there are a couple of different opportunities. I'm actually here at the Super Bowl Experience in San Francisco right now, showing it to the public. So that's one. But the big one will be in New York the week before the auction. So starting on March 6th, the whole collection will be up for view March 6th through 12th before the auctions on the 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Natalie, thank you for coming on. Incredible that, I mean, get a look at this list if you can, those watching at home. Just incredible what's going to be auctioned off. And a lot of these portions of these sales going to be donated to causes that were important, championed by Jim Irsay during his lifetime. So we appreciate you coming on. We look forward to seeing what happens.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Natalie Furno, specialist of the private collections at Christie's. And I know you, Andy, are most excited about Jerry Garcia's Tiger guitar that is going to be auctioned off.
You and I saw both Tiger and Wolf at the Metropolitan Museum when they were on display in their guitar thing, and I actually saw both of them when they sold them at Studio 54 a number of years ago. Unfortunately, I went the wrong day. I could have seen Robbie Robertson if I had been there the other day, but yeah, and I saw Tiger maybe almost 300 times because I only saw Garcia play Wolf a few shows.
A Ringo Starr's drum kit that was on the Beatles performance from the Ed Sullivan Show going to be auctioned off as well. It's amazing what's going to happen. That happens throughout March. We have the finale coming up here in New York. New York Breds, maiden special weight. Where are you guys going to wind up?
I like the one, Queen Sally, who I thought ran pretty well last time, was very green, could improve. Jackson, I think you like the 8, Raynham Hall. You're a race late on Rudy.
No, he's going to hit the late double. That's the plan for us today. I think the complexion of this race changed significantly when Into Hijinks scratched this morning because she was really the only speed in here. And with her coming out, it seems like Raynham Hall is going to be the controlling speed, at least based on the horses that have run before.
Yeah, turf sprint speed for the 8. It's her dirt debut coming up. Let's go down to Acacia.
Yeah, this is a really tricky race because if you have your questions about factory setting, you're kind of wondering where else to go. I did land on the 2, Rocksteady Babe. Now, tactically, I'm in agreement with Jackson. I wonder how she is going to fare because she's not one that has a ton of early speed, but she just really struck me in the way that she ran recently. Like she will appreciate a cutback in distance for Charlie Baker, so I like the turn back for her, and she's a nice price, Greg.
Loading up, just about set. Thank you, Acacia. Favorite factory setting, beaten favorite first 2 starts of her career for trainer Chad Brown. teaming up with Manny Franco again here.
I think she'll appreciate less distance, the 7, and I do think she'll run well. But, you know, once again, with the track being heavily biased, I have a tough time having strong opinions, especially on horses that don't particularly have any speed or aren't on the rail.
Chris Griffin, the call. Here's the nightcap from Aqueduct.
All set. And they're off. Breaking awkwardly was Combatant Song towards the back end of the field. Sugartown Sweetie thrust to the front, and right there is Factory Setting is going to be second. Rocksteady Babe moves through at the rail, is now going to take that second position away, and that moves Factory Setting back to third. Out wider, progressing is Greek Goddess, set on the racetrack and towards their inside as Major Dreams Come True. From the back, trying to run on there is Queen Sally is going to be mid-pack. Combatant Song is now recovered with Raynham Hall. The trailer, My First Dinah. They approach 4 furlongs left to go, and 23.31 was that opening quarter mile. Sugartown Sweetie with the rail has got a head advantage. Factory Setting is comfortable in second and ranging up to the outside. Greek Goddess is just off of them 3 wide. Rocksteady Babe is in behind horses, nowhere to go yet, is in tandem there with Majors. Dream Come True. Greek Goddess is ready to challenge in the 3 path, 47 seconds flat for a half-mile time. Queen Sally's trying to rally on. Sugartown Sweetie's at the rail. It is Greek Goddess who's trying to open up here. Greek Goddess in the center of the racetrack. Sugartown Sweetie just won't go away, keeps battling back towards the inside. Rocksteady Babe, Factory Setting from the back trying to run on is Queen Sally inside the final furlong. Greek Goddess is in front and trying to edge clear. Sugartown Sweetie still rallies onto the inside, drifting out, but Greek Goddess wins it. Greek Goddess wins the finale over Sugartown Sweetie, Rocksteady Babe, and Queen Sally up for fourth in 1 minute 18.87 seconds.
First time starter, it's Greek Goddess to close out this card here in New York, and does so at 6-1.
Able to get the job done despite being a little bit wide on this race, and the trainer had the horse ready to go first time out. And you saw how strong that rail was, keeping the 10 Sugartown Sweetie going the whole way, Jackson.
Yeah, I think the 5 is definitely a horse you want to maybe watch next time, because we saw how well the 10 ran him, and 10 looked hopelessly beat. She looked beaten top of the stretch. She battled back for a long time. The 5 ran well.
Oh, look at the horse, the 2, that didn't leave the rail. That horse just kept rolling on. The 1, who I kind of liked, looked like had a ton of momentum going the turn, and once the horse swung wide, just completely started spinning his wheels, and or her wheels, I should say, and I just feel like losing ground on this track was very, very hard. It's not impossible, maybe not as strong as yesterday, but we got a pretty serious bias.
Yeah, this is the day you want to circle on your calendars and bet back a lot of horses that had some wide trips today.
Agreed.
6-1 over 19-1 over 13-1 for your trifecta here in this finale. And yeah, this track's playing like this, you can get some chaotic results.
Well, unfortunately, you know, the weather we're canceling will be running next Wednesday. There's a carryover in the pick 6 of over $30,000. And I don't know if there's any weather expected, any rain or anything, but hopefully we can get this track fixed. But it's problematic with the cold temperatures. There's a limit to what they can do. It's not like we're trying to make biased racetracks.
We'll be back to wrap this race up momentarily. Right now, it's back to Lafitte in Hot Springs.
Where we just watched Vital Mind do his thing, lightly raced, lots of talent, lots of upside. Jose Ortiz aboard, Steve Asmussen, 3 wins yesterday, his first on the afternoon. That is definitely not Vital Mind unless they installed a turf course here at Oaklawn over the last 30 minutes or so. But what we saw from Vital Mind, in case you don't get to see it again, it was memorable.
Well, what I like about him is one characteristic that all good horses share is they possess speed. Vital Mind's fast. He broke out of the gate running, but then he settled and he came with the run. So he's using to learn his speed properly. He's improving with every start. He's regally bred, and much like the other Into Mischiefs, you could look at him and guess accurately he's by Into Mischief.
He's exciting. Could this be a horse hypothetically, and maybe we'll hear from Asmussen at some point, but does he strike you as a type of colt that could compete in races like the upcoming Whitmore, formerly the Hot Springs, and eventually the Count Fleet, Oaklawn's most prestigious sprint race?
I have to believe they're thinking in that direction, and especially the way he finished today. It looked like he just broke off at the 8th pole.
Yeah, took off, and it was over. Turn the page, more stakes racing. Bugler on tap, race number 10, scratch numbers 4 and 12. Wow, look at that, Foie Gras. 8-5 favorite with Flavien Prat in the saddle, and there is Foie Gras in the Bugler. What'll she do? We'll find out in 14 minutes. Following this one, the Southwest Stakes. Precious Kentucky Derby points on the line.
$1,600,000. Thank you.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
A provision in a bill passed this summer reduces the tax deduction for wagering losses from 100% to 90%. This unfair change would tax horse players on a percentage of their losses, could cost over $1 billion in handle, and threaten thousands of jobs in the racing industry. That's why the NTRA is fighting to pass the Wager Act, a new bill that would restore the deduction to 100%. Tell Congress to pass the Wager Act. Visit ntra.com/wager.
Back with you on our Friday coverage on America's Day at the Races. It's brought to you in part by Gainesway Power, Passion, Performance. Our card in the books in New York. And we close things out with a first-time starter, Greek Goddess. We knew going in already we would have a pick six carryover into the next day we race here.
And this trainer had this horse ready to roll first time out, winning against the racetrack. Not an easy thing to do, Jackson.
No, not at all. And it's not like she was ever on the rail on the backside either. She was always 3 wide throughout this entire race. This is definitely one I think you want to, bump up moving forward next time.
A very good second dam. I think Bernick's horse. He was good.
So Greek Goddess, Jamie Rodriguez aboard for the victory. Closing things out in New York on a day in which the Withers are Derby prep. It's a New York bred taking top on.
And I'll tell you something, it came up a pretty fast race. It was around a third of a second faster than the older horse went in the race before. And that horse looked pretty good, and his run figures in the mid-80s. So right. I don't think that I don't think Talk to Me Jimmy was luck. I mean, the track may have helped him today. But that comes up a fast race. I'll be curious to see what he does going forward.
And that pick six carryover, we are back racing
Wednesday.
We'll
be on the air for people. We'll be on from 12:30 to 6:30 tomorrow. Tampa and Oaklawn from 3 to 5:50 on Sunday. But we're racing on Wednesday.
Cross country pick 5 follow along, 2 legs remain, including the Grade 3 Southwest Derby prep out in Hot Springs at Oaklawn Park. We're going to say bye for today, but back with us tomorrow. Terrific job, Jackson.
Thanks, guys. It was a lot of fun, and looking forward to being back tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Good having you on. Nice information as well. We got a lot more coming up, including the main event out in Hot Springs. Let's send it back out there now.
All right, Greg, thanks so much. With horses having arrived in the paddock for the third and fourth stakes races, the Bugler $135,000 purse filly and mare sprint. And right now, foie gras.
Well,
9 to 5, Richie. Why?
You got Flavien Prat, first of all.
There's
That's
that.
a good thing to have. Coming off a stakes win right here, making his first start in the Mike Maker barn. And it's tactical. She can lay up close. She can create her own trip. And I'm assuming the Bugler is not named for the bugler that calls him to the post, but the restaurant, which is
terrific restaurant,
outstanding, right here at the hotel.
Really good food.
Maybe you could get some foie gras there.
You may be. You get just about everything else. Ask for Heather. She'll take care of you at the bar. She's terrific. The staff is terrific. All part of the experience. And this the hotel, the resort, the casino, and just the hospitality is fun of part of the experience of coming to Oaklawn as anything else.
You know, Lafitte, you only have one chance to make a first impression, and the first impression, as soon as you walk onto the grounds here, is so positive. It's such a good experience, and like you said, the hospitality, the customer service, you want to come racing here.
Yeah, the racing, top-notch. As you look at Steve Asmussen, he does not train Queen's Martini. Ron Moquette does. Queen's Martini, this is her comeback race, resurfacing after a 10-month layoff right here in December. Queen's Martini with a white blaze there strikes the front and able to outduel her rival in an exciting stretch duel.
Yeah, hard to miss her with all that white chrome. I want you to pay particular attention to Joel Rosario. He's in a stiff drive. Finally, inside the 8th pole, he goes once to the crop, hand ride. He's going to go one more time. There's no rider that is as economical with the crop as Joel Rosario. So even though this is a hard-fought victory, he didn't go all the way to the bottom of the well with her. She didn't get beat up. It's not a race that I think she'll regress as much from because of that kit glove handling from Joel Rosario.
The attack from the filly on the inside, Rosario makes her a little bit uncomfortable, intimidates her a little bit, while at the same time, Queen's Martini becoming that much more competitive and digging deeper.
That's the subtle art of race riding. It's shifting ground to meet a challenge and maybe compromise your rival slightly. It's not going sideways to get to one.
Queen's Martini, currently 8-1. Riders up, as you can see, will meet the field. And then race number 11 is the Southwest Stakes, $1 million Kentucky Derby prep race. With 42 Kentucky Derby points on the line, 20 to the winner. With 3 months until the first Saturday in May, 152nd run for the Roses. First things first, this Bugler. And there is Joel Rosario. Queen's Martini, Ford trainer Ron Moquette. 3-time winner, one of them here at Oaklawn Park. Foie Gras. Still reigning as the choice here at 2-1 with Flavien Prat. On days like this, you are going to see some of the very best, and that's what we're seeing with. It's already a very talented jockey colony, but Joel Rosario here full-time. Jose Ortiz here today, Flavien Prat here today, etc.
I was up in the room visiting with a bunch of the guys. You have Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers, and talented young guys that are hungry starting out, and an eclectic and strong jockey colony here.
That's Southwest Stakes with $1 million purse, and this Bugler, $135,000. We start with Tilted Lady, claim from Randy Morse by Tanner Tracy.
And coming off a big effort last time against much easier, but they're giving her opportunity to see if she can step up.
Harbor Springs, last one with Brian Hernandez.
Well, listen, you get a Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks winning rider in Brian Hernandez, one of the maybe most underrated riders in the country. That old jockeys knew how good he was. It took the world to see him win those kind of races to understand it as well.
That brilliant ride on Mystic Dan in that Derby 150. Then number 3, Pistol, 53-1 stunner in her latest.
And a real big effort that day at a huge price, but she's been here with a light work tab, so she's going to have to really kind of try to follow that up.
Foie Gras, 12-1 Oaklawn Anywhere winner.
She's already a stakes winner here at Oaklawn. Both of her Oaklawn efforts are strong. A win in a second makes a lot of sense.
The name is Wisconsin gal, but bred in Kentucky, 4-year-old debut.
Yeah, big long shot. She'd be a bit of a surprise. She gets a rider, Orlando Bocachica, a lot of people might not be familiar with. Really strong finisher, Lafitte.
Anna Karina should be involved early. She's quick, then a serious contender. Blue Fire, talented Louisiana bred.
Well, that has speed, but has got the luxury of being drawn outside some of the other speeds and maybe kind of gets run of the race.
Miss L, a tackling tougher but sharp.
Yeah, she's going to have to bring it up to a little bit of another level, but her 8 races are pretty good.
Marmalade Sky, number 10, a buy-in former Arkansas Derby winner, Danza.
Yeah, I mean, she feels like she's going to have to take a bit of a step forward to be competitive here, but I've seen some pretty big prices win today.
Queen's Martini, 7-1, coming off of that effort, game win in her return. She had been off for 10 months. Do you worry about regression? I get it. That was back in December.
Well, that's
that race off the bench, though, and now enough time where that shouldn't be a concern.
Well, maybe with the fact that, training was interrupted here because of the weather, that might bode well for her coming off of a strong effort like that. And a lot of people are going to look down and say, well, where did that 90 buyer speed figure come from? horses don't fully mature till the age of 5. She was late in her 4-year-old year, and she comes up with that effort. Maybe the extra time, the interruption in training helps her. And that's why I also pointed out, Lafitte, that Joel Rosario didn't beat her up to win.
No.
Right? He got the best out of her. It still was a good effort. I think that she can take another step forward, and the outside post gives her that luxury.
5-6 weeks since that effort, Queen's Martini. And we saw Pistol number 3 at 7-1, her latest, facing Allowance Company late November at Churchill Downs. Pistol, Richie, she's 53-1, but she ain't running like it.
No, she sure outran her odds this day, and that race looks like a bit of an outlier. You never really hadn't seen that race in over a year from her, but it was there. She was good. She's trained by Tom Vanberg, son of the late, great Hall of Famer Jack Vanberg. It was a big effort. Can she reproduce that effort against tougher?
Can she? Megan, can she do it again? Pistol.
Well, a key change in equipment to me is what really woke her up, and according to her connections, as I caught up with them pre-race, and the keynote was an extension blinker that really was able to aid in some of the quirks and the issues that she's had throughout her career. You'll see there she will be wearing fully covered over her eyes there, that extension blinker. It has very much been the key to what really woke her up last time out was the very first time that they were applied on her. And as her trainer, Tom Vanberg, had mentioned to me, she kind of got out and just continued to do so. It was incredibly hard to manage for her jockeys earlier on in her career, and that equipment really seemed to turn the light on and turn the corner with her. And I think that getting them again in here today, she's going to be tough. She's a rateable filly. She's tactical. Getting Francisco Arrieta back aboard, who was on her last time out and has been able to kind of figure her out through the years, as she is a 7-year-old. But she's a lighter frame filly, not as much to her, but I think she is well prepared off of the bench. She does contend with the layoff from November the 27th. And as mentioned, I think that equipment change has been really key for her. The 5 for Gras has done nothing wrong lately. Last time out, it was one of those wake-up call efforts for her. She just looked honestly like a bit of a different horse than what I had seen from her races down in Kentucky. And boy, has she been training well out of that. She's got not one, but 2 47 works, half-mile works here at Oaklawn Park, where she's just looked fantastic. She was tacked outside in the paddock, in the winner's circle outside of the paddock. Kept her moving, kept her going. She does look like she has the propensity to be a bit more of a busy-minded individual, but she's kept herself together well, getting a bit warm, nothing over the top, and I think she's going to be competitive right back again here in Stakes Company. The 8 Blue Fire, I always had a thing for this filly. I mean, how many Stone Street-owned Louisiana breds do you see come about? And I think this is the perfect condition for her, as she is a multiple Louisiana bred stakes winner, and this is a restricted effort that she qualifies for. And she's excellent when she was able to trip out the perfect trip last time out there at the fairgrounds. And then 2 back, she's kind of shuffled back and didn't quite have it her way that day, as the long-time rivalry with Secret Faith got the better of her. But man, was that 8 Bells last year at Churchill incredibly impressive. A grade 2 placed filly. She's shown ability being able to come from off of it. Can she do so again today, Lafitte?
You think she can, Richie?
Yeah, I like this filly. She's my kind of horse. 10 starts, 5 wins, 3 seconds. She brings her lunch pail. She goes to work. And obviously, she's had great success against Louisiana breds, races restricted to horses bred in the state of Louisiana. But look at her 8 Bells at Churchill Downs, a grade 2 in open company.
Good.
She's good, and she's consistent. She shows up. She has a tendency to want to drift out, particularly through the stretch. I love that Jose Ortiz is here to ride her because he knows her. He's familiar with her, and it's so much easier when you have a rider that's familiar with a horse that has a habit.
Jose Ortiz, Steve Asmussen looking to go back-to-back, just struck with Vital Mind. There is a live look at Asmussen, who holds just about every record there is to hold here at Oaklawn Park, whether it's wins or stake wins or training titles. I believe 14 of them, and yeah, he's not slowing down anytime soon.
That guy was a jockey. He was a jockey. I mean, his brother, Cassius Musin, one of the greatest riders of his generation, who completely rearranged, revolutionized, that's the word, how they started riding in Europe, and particularly France. Cash is a great rider. Learned a lot from him. He won the Eclipse Award the year before I did, a year or two before I did, and he was always somewhat of somebody I looked up to and a mentor.
Asmussen with Jose Ortiz teaming up here, teaming up in the Southwest Stakes as well. Soldier and Diplomat.
Yeah,
Tough
actually.
post. Is he? What do you make of him as an individual? What do you expect today?
I think he's going to run really well. I was talking with Jose Ortiz earlier today up in the jockey's room about him. And I said, what about the draw? He goes, he's pretty fast. I don't want to turn him on too much because then I won't be able to turn him off. So he goes, if I get into the first turn about 4 wide, I won't be concerned. I'll be happy about that. He thinks the main speeds are all centered down in the first 3 stalls, 1, 2, and 3. So he's looking to kind of get that forward stalking kind of trip. But he said the key is he just doesn't want to get him too revved up, enough to get over, clear some horses so he's not hung too wide. But it's a balancing act. You're walking a tightrope with horses like that.
See, I like to know that because for our viewers, they can watch through. It's like, okay, what is a win? From a bad post, it's not going to be ideal early on. That's not possible. Like, what is a win? And now we know when we're watching it early on, right, where's Soldier and Diplomat with Jose Ortiz? He said 4 wide going, like, that would be okay. We'll see how it all unfolds.
Well, when I broached the question to him, I said, would you be happy if you were 3 wide? He goes, I'd be okay if I'm 4 wide. So, I was going one more path in. But, obviously, Jose Ortiz prepared, has looked at the race, extensively, and he knows the trip he wants.
Can't wait. A week after it was expected, but finally we get to see the Southwest Stakes in race 11. First, the 10th, the Bugler. These fillies and mares have reached the gate. Final check of the toe board. 2-1, Foie Gras and Flavian Pratt. Post time for the Bugler, live on FS2. Here's Matt Dinnerman.
Marmalade Sky, post number 10. Two back, Wisconsin Gal, the long shot, and Queen's Martini to the outside post. We're ready to go. And we're off. And the Bugler Overnight Stakes. Blue Fire, the Louisiana bred, fires right out of there, takes advantage of it, goes to the front in the early stages. Anna Karina, Wisconsin Gal side by side. Here comes Anna Karina inside of Blue Fire with Wisconsin Gal, who's getting to the rail. It's going to be Anna Karina to lead the way now, approaching the half-mile pole, and Blue Fire takes a hold on her tail, now is second in a good stalking spot. Wisconsin Gal to the inside. Marmalade Sky is next. Foie Gras right behind the speed. She's between horses, 6 off the pace as Anna Karina opens up 2 on the lead here, rounding the far turn run. We come back to Miss Ellie under a ride. Titled Lady has lost position here. Queen's Martini third last, 7 from the top, being asked to get going. Pistol at the tail end of the field as they round the far turn. Harbor Springs is well out of it as well. Top of the stretch. Here comes Blue Fire after Anna Karina once again. Blue Fire sailing to the lead. Now here comes Foie Gras, and here's the showdown. Foie Gras outside of Blue Fire, and Foie Gras goes to the lead. Blue Fire's right there, still battling hard. Foie Gras with the upper hand, though, starts to inch away. Foie Gras, 3 wins in a row for her. She's razor sharp and takes the Bugler Overnight Stakes trophy. Blue Fire, very good effort, just second best. Queen's Martini rallies for third, and Harbor Springs from well out of it was fourth.
12-1 when she won the Oaklawn Anywhere. Not the case today. 8-5 razor sharp. Foie Gras, 2 wins on the afternoon. Flavian Pratt, trainer Mike Maker. Foie Gras in the Bugler.
And you get that typical perfect Flavian Pratt trip. She leveled off nicely. Boy, she stretches her head out and reaches for ground and runs away from a very, very game Blue Fire, who showed up again and gave her a effort. Just was not quite good enough today.
A big effort. Yeah, no answer for Foie Gras when she really turned it on. But what would you suggest might be, what's been the difference in this groove that she's in right now? Foie Gras, 3 straight wins as we watch from the drone.
Well, it could be part of it, just the natural maturation. She's now a 4-year-old. It was kind of a, maybe a little bit of a work in progress, because she would throw a race in now and then. Going back with Flavian Pratt, back in May of last year, where she ran an 89 buyer figure. Now she gets Pratt again. Horses get good, and she's just in good form right now.
Paradise Farms, Shooter Stable, Foie Gras. Sire could flat out sprint to Grade 1 winner. Volatile, Foie Gras, 3 straight victorious here in the Bugler. Results when we come back and much more as we turn the page and look ahead to a Kentucky Derby prep on this Friday afternoon, the Southwest Stakes from Oaklawn. Welcome back as you watch Foie Gras, Flavia Pratt, Paradise Farms, Shooter Stable. Filly has found her rhythm. 3 straight victories and another stakes tally here at Oaklawn Park in the Bugler.
A real nice effort. And they did it right there, the way she walked into the winner's circle. Let the groom lead her in. You can get hold of the shank as well, the ownership.
I'm with you.
But the person that spends every day, basically lives with the horse, don't exclude them from the celebration. And it was just a real good effort. I love the way she reaches for ground. Look how she drops her head and reaches for ground. This is a horse really using her stride, and really nice effort. No shame in Blue Fire's effort.
Are you surprised that she won that clear in the end? Because when she came, it looked like we were going to have a potential slugfest to the wire. Blue Fire fired, but Foie Gras that went right by her.
It looked like the table was set for that stretch duel, and she just kept finding. And again, when you see a horse reaching for ground, their head out, extended, down, they're getting the most out of their stride. They're getting that long stride and covering the ground. That was pretty to watch.
Winning pilot, Flavia Pratt, standing by live with Megan.
Well, it's worth the trip for sure back here at Oaklawn Park with Flavia Pratt, and had speed, just much the best here with this filly today.
Yeah, she traveled well all the way and responded properly when I asked her to make a run.
You'll be on Rancho Santa Fe coming up in the Southwest. What have you gleaned with your conversations from Brad Cox about this horse?
Yeah, I mean, he seems a bit one pace. Looks like, there could be some pace in the race, so hopefully set up well for us.
Seems he's been more tactical in the past, just maybe a more mid-range. I know he was kind of coming from off of it and maybe a less than desirable trip last time out.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get him a little closer, but in the meantime, I don't want to override him, and we'll see what happens.
Thank you for the time. Best of
Thank
luck.
you. Thank you very much.
Lafitte?
Flavien Prat, he'll go change. Back in the paddock, and then a leg up on Rancho Santa Fe, who, yeah, as they were just discussing, a less than desirable journey in these Smarty Jones Stakes. We know he's better than that effort. I think we're going to see a much better version, a much better effort today from Rancho Santa Fe.
Yeah, I agree with you. He just had basically a no chance trip last time. He's a horse that has shown that he has the ability to kind of hang. Obviously, they all got to kind of take that step forward to be Kentucky Derby contenders. But I see no reason why this horse can't get back to a winning form, or at least a winning type effort. It's a pretty solid field. I mean, it's a deep field.
That's coming up next, the Southwest Stakes with $1 million purse, and we'll get right to it. But first, we check in with the cross-country Pick 5 and what we've seen thus far. Talk to Me, Jimmy, by daylight in the Withers, 26.54. Vital Mind, the favorite. Greek Goddess at a price, and Foie Gras moments ago, the favorite in the third of 4 stakes races. But predictably, naturally, the America's Best Racing's race of the week is, in fact, the $1 million Southwest Stakes. 3-year-olds, mile and a 16th, 42 Derby points, 20 to the winner, and those are live odds. Those are updated with strategic risk. The Smarty Jones winner, 5-2 early on to Coach, second choice at 3-1.
And he comes off a perfect trip win in the Smarty Jones. They went a half in 49-3. And he's galloping alongside an overmatched horse that was on the lead, and he kicked away. Now, he's a nice horse. He created his own trip, but it was as easy a trip as you're going to get. You have the other Marcassi horse here, Silent Tactic. He's 12-1 right now. He was the runner-up in the Smarty Jones. He rallied from well back into a slow pace. If you like the 9 strategic risk, you got to like the 11 Silent Tactic as well. I think he had a much tougher trip.
Southwest Stakes is next. So where could this all be headed? The Southwest Springboard to success in the Triple Crown and beyond. For example, 1992, Pine Bluff, Lil E.T. They ran second and third in the Southwest. Eventual Kentucky Derby and Preakness winner. 97, Smoke Glack and Triple Crown. Yeah, not for him, but sprinting was. Maryland-bred champion sprinter. 2004, the Smarty Jones swept the 3-year-old series here. Derby winner, Preakness winner, near miss in the Belmont Stakes. 2 years later, Lawyer Ron, Southwest victor, just got better. Crown champion, older horse in 2007. 2016, Whitmore, runner-up in the Southwest. Yeah, he ran in the Derby before becoming one of the best sprinters in the game. 5 years ago, they finally met after that Southwest was postponed. Essential Quality, Jackie's Warrior. In the end, both champions. 2024, Mystic Dan, breakout performance in this race 3 months later. 150th Kentucky Derby winner in last year, Sandman. Patch Adams, second and fourth in the Southwest. Sandman, Arkansas Derby winner. Patch Adams, 2 Grade 1 wins in sprint races at Saratoga. Richie, this race and that list and the images of those horses that have emerged from the Southwest and achieved at the highest level.
Absolutely. Listen, it's $1 million purse. Oaklawn Park offers 3 races worth $1 million or more as prep races to the Kentucky Derby. And it just seems like year after year, you're going to get more and more contenders coming here. It's just too lucrative. And it's a great place to kind of, springboard, a jumping off point, right?
From here, another step towards the Arkansas Derby and maybe the first Saturday in May at Churchill Downs. So many storylines included. Trainer Ray Ashford, one of the biggest days of his career, one of the biggest opportunities in his career by saddling Decode. Historically fast in his debut. Now start number 2. Is he ready for this? Tackling better competition at a farther distance. We'll find out in 20 minutes. The Southwest next from Oaklawn.
And it's lights out. Locked. Pouring it on. Running aggressively through the stretch to win by 7 easy lengths.
Here is Locked. Locked racing by on the outside for the lead. Locked, the wine steward. It is Locked.
Here comes Locked after Mulligan. Locked catching with every single stride, and Locked will win the Cigar Mile.
It's all about luck, dominating the big cap, cruising home to an effortless 8-length romp.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
They come on for the finish in the Pilgrim Stakes. Annapolis by a head.
It is Annapolis in front. It is Annapolis to win the Coolmore Turf Mile.
This is how it happens. Moments like this and races like this. When a prospect fulfills promise.
And a huge effort for the Kenny McPeak barn. Mystic Dan wins wrapped up in the Southwest.
And just like that, everyone close to that horse, they start believing. Believing in Derby dreams coming true.
Who's it going to be? Oh, it's a photo of the Derby. Oh, it's a photo. Was it Mystic Dan?
3 months from today, the 152nd Kentucky Derby. And moments at Oaklawn, $1 million qualifier. So who's ready to take the next step?
Decode, he's one to watch for the future. He is 8 lengths ahead and cruising in.
Butane. He's going to win from here to Fenway Park.
And Strategic Risk just pounced on the early leader and kicks away. Strategic Risk in the Smarty Jones.
42 Kentucky Derby points on the line. The $1 million Southwest Stakes is next. What an opportunity to earn the winner's share of a $1 million purse to prove you belong. Earn points towards the first Saturday in May, the Kentucky Derby. Southwest Stakes is next. Updated odds there. 3-year-olds, mile and a 16th. Current favorite, number 9, Strategic Risk, 5-2. Decode, also 5-2 with about 9 minutes to post. You look at the trainers in that field. It's Bob Baffert, it's Kenny McPeak, it's Brad Cox. Combined, like 8 wins in the Kentucky Derby. Then there's trainer Ray Ashford, yet to start a horse in the Kentucky Derby. Maybe that changes this spring. Maybe that horse is Decode. Regardless of what Decode does this afternoon in the Southwest Stakes, Ray Ashford is doing exactly what he's always wanted to do.
Win. That's a tough son of a gun.
Yeah, win easy, too.
My dad was a racehorse trainer too. He was a miner by trade. I kind of had my mind made up when I got out of high school. I moved straight to Reynosa Downs the next day. I did start at Reynosa Downs. I used to have a stable of mixed horses. When we got gaming in New Mexico, the purses got pretty good. I decided to start going to Prairie Meadows. From then on, I just trained straight thoroughbred. I didn't have any more quarter horses. We kind of had a family meeting, and we decided to move from El Paso to Oklahoma City.
Wild Atlantic Storm in an all-out drive will take the Springboard Mile by a length and a half.
He's actually a homebred. He belongs to a guy named Jim Jorgensen. He won the Springboard Mile, he won the Clever Trevor, he won the John Wayne and up at Prairie Meadows. He's an Iowa bred. Made about a little over 700. That horse was kind of a turning point. We had some pretty good horses along the way, but when we got him, picked up some better horses and better clients. When you look down the shed row and the heads start popping out and they're a lot better quality, it makes it a lot easier to get up in the morning, I'll tell you that. Mr. Durant, he's great to train for. He called me on the phone one day there at Lone Star, and he said it was kind of a job interview, and then he said, I guess you're hired. So we picked the horses up and been doing pretty good.
All right, handsome, come on.
They actually had the Decodes in the Maryland sale, and then something happened to the track, and they canceled the Breeze show, so the horse didn't breeze, which worked out pretty good for us because he's still here. Had he breezed, he might have reached the price tag that they had in mind for him at the time. When we started breezing him, then started seeing some things that we liked.
Decode by 6 lengths with about a furlong to go.
I thought he would run good, but I didn't know he would run that good.
Decode, he's one to watch for the future. He is 8 lengths ahead and cruising in. Decode, the son of Speightstown, wrapped up late.
He breeds good every time we breed the horse, and we had quite a few other 2-year-olds that we worked him with, but he was beating them all up. He's laid back, he's easy to train, he likes to go to the racetrack. Christian Torres came over and breezed the horse and jumped him away from the gate. And then he came back and he was very impressed. He said, hey, that's a good horse, maybe the best one I've been on here. That's what you dream about, running across one of these kind of horses. You don't dream about in the back of your mind somewhere having a Derby horse, even the potential of having one. You shouldn't train horses. I mean, why else would you do it? I think that's why everybody does it.
Better get used to those, buddy.
We hope there's a lot more.
Yeah.
Very well said by Ray Ashford. Live look, there he is. Big Oklahoma Sooner fan, and played high school football. He grew up like idolizing Brian Bosworth, right? But as a trainer, Richie, starting with quarter horses, making that transition, that quarter horse background to thoroughbreds, we've seen that a time or two in the past.
Well, 2 of the greatest horse trainers in the history of horse racing, Hall of Famers, Wayne Lucas and Bob Baffert, started with quarter horses. And a lot of other trainers did too. Dennis Brider trained a Met Mile winner in Dixie Brass, started with quarter horses. They learned their foundation of horsemanship there, and then they just continue to carry it on. So I think it's great that he is in this position with a horse like this who is super intelligent. I don't know if you noticed, in the end of the feature, they had the camera there, and he looked straight into that camera. And to me, that's a sign of intelligence. A good horse not only has to have the physical ability, he has to have the mental acumen to be a top horse.
It's a really great story. And now Decode, what will he do in his second career start? Greg and Andy in New York. So yeah, the story itself, but sentiment aside, like what about the horse? What are you expecting from Decode running farther against much better?
Certainly one of the most exciting horses probably on this Triple Crown Trail right now. We'll see what he does.
I think it's the second fastest figure behind Brandt last year, and this was in both of them in their debuts. I mean, he's clearly the speed in this race. I can't imagine he won't be in front. I don't know. Listen, Speightstown can do anything. He's not a horse I would ever bet on at a short price, but listen, I mean, he's obviously a super talented horse. The question, Greg, is he a Triple Crown type horse, or is he more of a Woody Stevens, Alan Jerkins horse? And, if he shows today he doesn't want to get the distance, will they do the right thing, like they did with Jackie's Warrior, for instance, and point him towards shorter races? Because he's good.
Incredibly fast to do that as a 2-year-old. And granted, it was late end of the year. It was a 2-year-old season, but still a 99 Beyer speed figure. And yes, as you said, the second highest Beyer speed figure of a 2-year-old all of last year. We know he's immensely talented.
If I had a 4-year-old debut and get a 99 Beyer, I'd be excited as an owner or trainer. So I get it, and there's no reason not to be excited. And I think it's the right move to be taking their shot now. It's just, will they do the right thing if it doesn't work out?
Road to the Derby, we saw Strategic Risk, who will line up in this race, of course. Win that Smarty Jones. Rebel, March 1st, 50 points to the winner to get in that starting gate. And the big one, the Arkansas Derby, March 28th.
Yeah, I'm going to make a small bet on the 13 Soldier and Diplomat, who I think can stalk and maybe be a good spot. He's not necessarily good enough, but at his price, I don't mind betting a few bucks. I don't love the favorites.
8-1 right now on Soldier and Diplomat. Let's go to Megan.
Well, a very busy paddock of every stall filled, of course, except the 5 there for litmus test, as he was a big defection. But his stablemate in the number 3 Butane looks to take the 2-turn test in this Grade 3 Southwest. And getting my eyes on him in the paddock, when I saw him in Saratoga, I didn't think he was the biggest sort. I didn't think he was, perhaps, I thought he would maybe even be better, a bit shorter. I didn't particularly immediately glean that he was going to be a Triple Crown Trail type, but he has grown into himself a bit better. I've seen him take a little bit of a step forward, and gosh, has that work tab and picturesque of what Bob Baffert does with these 3-year-olds, getting that 6-furlong stamina-inducing drills into them. He had a maintenance half-mile breeze in his last. He's not missed a step of training on the West Coast, and he looks to be doing very well as Rudy Broussais will deputize for the Baffert barn in here. Now, my biggest concern with him is, what has he truly faced? He was in chase mode after So Happy last time out, and if he does take another step forward, I think he'll be tough. And looking at him physically, a son of Tiz the law, I don't think this mile and a 16th is going to be overly difficult for him to achieve. But the number 4, Rancho Santa Fe, taking money off that morning line. I landed on him in this spot. He, to me, got the just worst of rides and trips last time out in the Smarty Jones, where Flavien did say that in the interview when I spoke to him. He can be one pace, so getting him into a better position, more tactical to me, is his gig. But quickly, the number 7, Liberty National, I think, could excite up there for trainer Kenny McPeak. I thought he looked fantastic. We'll see if he can take a step forward off of his Fairgrounds race there, Lafitte.
Very few would really shock or surprise this wide open competitive nature of this year's Southwest Stakes.
Oh, it is a lot of depth here and a lot of lightly raced horses that potentially could take a big step forward.
Riders up, post-parade brewing. Second of 4 key Kentucky Derby prep races here at Oaklawn Park. The Rebel is next on the 1st of March on a Sunday this year, and then eventually the most lucrative of all Kentucky Derby prep races, the Arkansas Derby. Oaklawn's signature race. These 3-year-olds about to tackle the mile and a 16th distance. Megan, touching on butane, something we referenced yesterday about horses that have missed training. Some of the horses that couldn't work as their trainers would have liked them to with the weather and the track being closed. Not a concern with butane training out in California.
No, and he's been training steadily and fast in California. One thing we know about Bob Baffert, he does not send out horses that are unfit. They're not short.
All-time leading trainer in the Southwest Stakes, 6 wins, Bob Baffert, 8 in the Rebel Stakes, 5 in the Arkansas Derby. This was the path he chose with American Pharoah 11 years ago, from the Rebel Stakes to the Arkansas Derby and beyond. And what the future of these horses might be is illustrated perhaps not just 3-year-old bound, like Triple Crown bound horses, the Whitmores of the world, some sprinters that wound up doing better at shorter distances. But for the time being, every owner trainer, they want to see if they have a horse that can earn points and wind up in that starting gate on the first Saturday in May. Let's meet the field for the 59th running of the Southwest, starting with Reclamation, When They Met, vaporized by Decode in December.
But then he came back and went gate to wire. Probably has speed. I don't see him as a contender myself, my opinion, but he will be involved a bit early.
Decode, favorite, 5-2, exciting 3-year-old.
Yeah, he should be the speed of the speed here. He's quick. He's got only the 1 race under his belt. It's a big ask, but he's already shown he has a tremendous amount of ability, and he does have a sibling, a half-brother, that won going a mile and a furlong. 9 furlongs, 1 furlong short of the Derby distance.
Hammer Zidane's Butane, expensive colt in from California. Bob Baffert looking for that 7th win in the Southwest Stakes. Rancho Santa Fe, he is better than what we saw in the Smarty Jones.
Yeah, he just comes off a no-chance trip. He's going to have to get a better trip. When you get Flavien Prat, you expect to get a better trip.
Circle Tap, yesterday's 5th season winning connections.
Now, it took him a while to break his maiden, and only in his 5th start. But Dallas Stewart, very good at getting horses ready for a big effort in big races.
Liberty National, can Brian Hernandez, Kenny McPeak do it again?
Well, the band's back together, and certainly, they know how to get it done in big races.
Spirit of Royal, one that would shock.
Well, he'd like to see them go very fast up front and things to fall apart, but he's going to have to get faster.
Strategic Risk, the Smarty Jones victor.
Yeah, big effort in the Smarty Jones, big effort in the Stallion Stakes at Gulfstream, but he got such an easy trip. Can't anticipate and get as soft a trip as he got last time.
Stablemate, Silent Tactic, 2nd in the Smarty Jones.
Well, if you like Strategic Risk, you should like Silent Tactic at a much bigger price, because he was the horse closed best of all into no pace.
Baytown Dreamer, 3rd in the Smarty Jones.
Yeah, but he had every chance. I mean, he got a great trip that day under Orlando Boca Chica. He just was not quite good enough.
Soldier and Diplomat, Jose Ortiz.
Well, he's already faced the best. Hidnafi, your 2-year-old champion in the Hopeful. He doesn't have a great post, but Jose Ortiz felt like he could get to a good enough position, and he doesn't want to be involved with that pace, but he should be in a good stalking spot.
Finally, that was Sleeping on Freedom.
Yes, and that's even further outside. What kind of trip does he get from out there? It's just so hard for a rider to find position from an extreme outside post.
Over to Megan, live with Steve Asmussen.
Well, I got to steal Steve before he gets back to his natural habitat away from here, but Soldier and Diplomat was a classy individual last year, and you've mentioned he's grown up. What are some of his physical attributes as far as taking a step forward now at 3?
The horse has always shown a tremendous amount of talent. I do think that he's grown considerably, probably 3 or 4 inches, and hopefully that'll, the maturity that he's shown, he'll be able to handle a mile and a 16th today.
Tactically, where do you see him playing out from that outside draw?
I think the break will be extremely important for him. Jose knows him. He's worked him recently. He has a lot of confidence in him as well. But he needs to be away from there cleanly so he has choices.
Classy individual. Best of luck here, Steve.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Lafitte.
Megan, thanks so much. Steve Asmussen, soldier and diplomat. Yeah, he ain't kidding. The break, crucial for soldier and diplomat from that post.
From that post, and, again, talking with Jose Ortiz earlier today, the trick is to get his position going forward and clear enough of the slower rivals inside of him without turning him on too much where he gets a bit rank and wants to do too much early. When a horse gets rank, Lafitte, they don't use their energy efficiently. They use energy fighting against their rider instead of working with their rider.
Postcard kind of afternoon here in Hot Springs, Arkansas, with the Southwest Stakes just moments away. This is the second step towards the Arkansas Derby. The first was the Smarty Jones. New Year's weekend, with the top 5 exiting the Smarty Jones and Strategic Risk having everything his own way, and he takes full advantage.
Well, he finishes full of energy. Well, he should, after going a half in 49-3 and attending an overmatched rival. And what happens when you kick away from an overmatched rival, boy, horses blow up their confidence. They just feel like King Kong. And the fact that his stablemate, Silent Tactic, was grinding, closing into that slow pace, makes me like him actually a little bit more than Strategic Risk.
Mm-hmm.
And people go, well, he beat him 4.5 lengths. Tale of 2 trips.
And a much better price, Strategic Risk up perfect, routing on dirt, the road to the Derby. Southwest today, Rebel Stakes on a Sunday, March 1st, in the Arkansas Derby, $1.5 million purse. Strategic Risk. And those colors, Jack Oxley owns him, owns Silent Tactic, and he knows all about success on the first Saturday in May. Blistering fractions early on, and Monarcos from far, far back with Chop Chop Jorge Chavez running away and hiding in one of the fastest derbies ever.
Second fastest winning effort in the Kentucky Derby, Monarcos. I say that because a horse named Sham probably ran.
Had to bring it up. Had to go there.
A bit faster.
Had to go there.
Second best to Secretariat.
Wrong place, wrong time. That year you had all the fastest horses in stalls 1, 2, and 3. Song and a Prayer on the Rail. Yeah. Millennium Wind, who had gone wire to wire in the Bluegrass. Balto Star, who had gone wire to wire in the Arkansas Derby. All the speed inside. Fastest opening half mile in the history of the Kentucky Derby.
They're like 21-4 the first quarter, going a mile and a quarter.
Ridiculous.
That's
Ridiculous.
For a 6 furlong race, not a 10 furlong race. So he did get a setup, but he was a good horse. I mean, his Florida Derby, go back and watch that replay sometime. He was very, very good.
Right back to Megan.
Well, the pair of Cassie runners coming off of some pretty solid performances in the Smarty Jones as the number 9 Strategic Risk was a tour de force, leveraging what was a perfect trip and a race where many others didn't exactly have so. It was a glacial pace where he was forward tactically, sat a pocket trip there, and just pulled away beautifully. And I will say this, sometimes I find the way he won that race was just so impressive. There was no beating him that day, even if those horses from coming off of it even did have a little bit better of a trip. So while I understand fully that he's going to have to take a step up and likely encounter a different trip circumstance, I do think that this horse has ability. He's a beautifully put together individual, an incredible mover. He was very classy and well within himself in the paddock. And I have a feeling about him. I think he is just a strong individual as a whole, but he does take on a stronger field of foes. And his stablemate, the 11 at Silent Tactic, was one of those that didn't have the best of trips. He came from off of it last time out. He was kind of in tight, was uncomfortable in parts of the running of that race. And listen, that was his test. Could he handle the dirt? He did. I'd expect another step forward, as does his trainer, Mark Cassie, who thought about putting this horse in an allowance field, opted to take him here. Always encouraging to see the confidence that a trainer has in wanting to take another shot in Greatest Stakes company. But the X Factor horse, that's the number 2 Decode. We saw that incredible feature on Ray Ashford Jr. And guys, just looking at him in the flesh, he is not an out-and-out sprinter. I don't find he's going to have a huge problem getting this distance at the mile and a 16th. Now, is that going to change as we get further down the road in this Triple Crown Trail? Time will tell, but as far as this race is concerned, he's going to have to accept some other pace pressure. He's drawn better to the inside, hopefully being able to save more ground. And folks, maybe he just is perhaps the talent of this field as he gets the distance test here. Lafitte.
It's a moment of truth for Decode. How effective will he be running farther against much better? Live look, Ray Ashford looking on as we heard him just discuss. Look, if you can't dream, and if that isn't your goal, to compete on the first Saturday in May, to train a Kentucky Derby starter, to train maybe even a Kentucky Derby winner, like, why are you in the game to begin with?
Go get an office job. Go get a job that you know what your paycheck is every week. You're swinging away. You're looking for that grand slam, right? I think it's fantastic. I will say this about Decode, Lafitte. He's a very laid-back individual for as fast as he is, and that could bode well for him for potentially getting the distance. Watch him gallop in the morning. He doesn't pull. He doesn't make the rider fight against him. He kind of goes on a loose line. We don't know until they try it. We're going to know in a few minutes, but I think his attitude is going to help him.
What should the viewers be looking for? Watching Decode is some sort of indication that yeah, he can do this, and he's gonna run his race, and he's going to be able to handle the distance.
Well, watch him into the first turn. It'll a lot depend on what the one Reclamation does, who, again, I think is overmatched in this spot, but has speed. And if Decode makes the lead, if his ears go up, such an indicator when a horse is comfortable, relaxed, settled. Watch a horse's ears.
Unfortunately for trainer Ray Ashford looking on, Bob Baffert may not be here, but Bob Baffert does train Butane just to his outside. The 6-time Southwest Stakes winner, Bob Baffert. Final thought on Butane.
I like Butane here. I think he's been training brilliantly at Santa Anita. No interruptions in his training. Bob Baffert, Hall of Famer. Joel Rosario, Hall of Famer. I think Butane lights it up.
42 Kentucky Derby points available. 20 to the winner. $1 million purse. Post time for the 59th running of the Southwest Stakes. Matt Dinnerman standing by the Southwest live here on FS2.
Here's Circle Tap. 2 back, Liberty National, and Sleeping on Freedom. Liberty National goes in. Sleeping on Freedom to the outside. Sleeping on Freedom rounds out the field. We're ready to go. And they're off in the 2026 Southwest. Soldier and Diplomat broke very sharply, but Decode's going to go to the lead here. Butane takes second. Soldier and Diplomat trying to tuck over from that outside draw. He's third deep as they go into the first turn. Decode off that brilliant maiden win has the lead. Louis Saez trying to ration his speed. He's on a hold a half length from Butane, the Bob Baffert shipper. He's second. Rancho Santa Fe a lot closer than last time. He's third, tugging just a little bit on the rail in third, saving ground on the first turn. Soldier and Diplomat is next. The Smarty Jones winner. Strategic Risk. He's with Circle Tap, and then Baytown Dreamer, 99-1 shot, 6 off the lead in midfield, gap of 2. Liberty National finds himself on the rail, followed by Sleeping on Freedom, Spirit of Royal, and that leaves Silent Tactic, and actually one of them who's not being persevered with, Reclamation. Reclamation's been pulled up. That's the one. Reclamation will not finish the race, so they go into the far turn. Let's see if Decode can route. Decode into the turn, half length here. Butane second, niggled along a little bit. Soldier and Diplomat right there, 3 wide. Strategic Risk getting into it now. He's fourth, 4 deep, sent along a bit. He's within range, though, 2 off the pace. Then comes Santa Fe has lost a few spots. Sleeping on Freedom is next. Liberty National getting going on the rail. He's passing some horses on the inside. Has some traffic to navigate. They're off the turn. Decode has a quarter mile more to go. Butane right behind him. Soldier and Diplomat on the grandstand side. Gradually wearing down Decode. And Soldier and Diplomat has gone to the lead. Now here comes Silent Tactic. Silent Tactic flying down the outside, and he's going to get them all. Silent Tactic. Christian Torres drawing away to win the Southwest Stakes. Soldier and Diplomat, second best. He was in a photo, but I think he got it over Butane, and then Rancho Santa Fe. Silent Tactic gets it and picks up 20 Kentucky Derby points from off the pace, stormed home to win it.
Doing his best Monarchos impersonation, Jack Oxley's silent tactic in the Southwest Stakes, trained by Mark Casse. Christian Torres, taken off to code, winds up on silent tactic and wins the $1 million Southwest Stakes.
And just came with the late rally. I don't like this so much. I like Christian Torres. Keep the celebration till after the finish line. Hold your horse together. Keep them balanced.
You know how sweet this must have been, though. How sweet this must have been for Torres after being replaced on code, winds up on silent tactic, pick up the action, turning for home in silent tactic, just finding his best ride.
Yeah, just angled out to the clear. Saw him almost kind of jump over that horse's heels. He's last in the picture. Angles all the way to the far outside. Get out of that kickback. And he drops his head and he finishes. Now, he had more pace today, and not even as fast a pace as I kind of anticipated. But this shows that his close in the Smarty Jones was for real. He had no help that day pace-wise, and he kicks on. This was a nice effort. And also compound Christian Torres' joy with the fact that he was Sandman's regular rider last year, was replaced to watch him win the Arkansas Derby, and now he did everything right. He was classy about it. He didn't complain. He didn't burn a bridge. And Mark Casse rewards him with a $1 million win. I'm sure the biggest win of his career. But I am going to have a conversation with him about keep that celebration till after the finish.
Fired up, pumped up, Christian Torres, more subdued. Mark Casse with the 3-year-old stakes sweep today. Earlier in the Martha Washington, Casse saddling 4 winners today. The Southwest here with silent tactic, and Casse, he's batting around 500 this winter at Oaklawn.
Yeah, I mean, this race actually took his percentage down a bit because he had 2 runners in here. No, all kidding aside, incredible how his barn is going. His assistant trainer here doing an amazing job. Mark is such an even-going, level-headed guy and really smart, understands racing, doesn't get mad if a guy has a bad trip or doesn't give the greatest ride. He understands that you build confidence with people by giving them that, allowing them to make a mistake and giving them the opportunity back.
He's trained a Preakness winner, War of Will, a Belmont Stakes winner a few years back, never a Kentucky Derby. Those colors, Jack Oxley, Mark Casse, remember they won the Arkansas Derby here with Classic Empire. He was the second choice to Always Dreaming in the Kentucky Derby, never had a chance. Wiped out at the start, and his day was done. Good enough to finish 4th. Maybe, just maybe, Oxley and Casse will have another shot in 3 months at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky, in the 152nd Kentucky Derby. First things first, they'll celebrate and enjoy this one. Silent tactic, 20 points towards the Kentucky Derby. And Christian Torres with the winning ride. The salute, fired up, letting everybody know. Silent tactic for real in an upset, 12-1 in the Southwest. Crowd still buzzing, dust settling following that stirring edition of the Southwest Stakes. Welcome back. America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Hill and Dale at Alapa. Silent Tactic. These races, they hit a little different. Richie, in the aftermath, it's not just the excitement, prestige of course, winning $1 million race, but what it represents for the future.
You now have a legitimate Kentucky Derby contender. The Southwest is a huge race in itself. Anytime you can win $1 million race, it's huge. But really what we're looking for is the future, right? In a game, we're always focused in the moment, but looking to the future. And he just threw his hat squarely in the ring. He's a closer, and the Derby's a race usually run too fast a pace for the distance. And the way he finished with his legs up underneath him makes me believe he'll stay 1.25 miles.
Not exactly gassed, is he?
No,
Still
he's not.
some energy there in the winner's circle. Silent Tactic. What does his pedigree tell you? And based on this performance, I know you just saw the race, but from what you've seen thus far, what you've seen today, does this look like a horse that he has the profile of a horse that could be effective in the run for the Roses?
I do, because I do think he gets the 1.25 miles, and that's always a question. I mean, obviously, I'm speculating. You know, you never know until they actually do it. But he's a closer, again, and the Derby is a race that favors horses, to me, especially if there's a hot pace, that can stay on. He could stay on. This was a terrific effort from him. I said it before the race of feet. Strategic Risk was taking all the money because of his dominant win in the Smarty Jones.
Sure.
But he did that with the softest trip possible, where this horse actually overcame adversity and closed into a slow pace. And Mark Casse wears a bouquet pretty well.
Yeah, he does. And celebrating on a day like this with the 4 wins, the Martha Washington, the Southwest Stakes. That's one side of the story. And then for Butane, finishing third in his second career start. It was a tall order, historically fast, the fastest race ever by a 2-year-old here at Oaklawn Park. What did you make of his effort?
I thought he ran well. He was the one closest to the pace that stayed on, right? Decode was a bit rank into the turn, and he was up forward, in the fray. But he definitely gave me the impression today that he'll be more effective at shorter distances.
Yeah. What about Soldier and Diplomat, who also picks up a handful of points towards the Kentucky Derby in his effort, hampered by that outside post position? What'd you make of his race?
I thought he ran terrific, and he's a horse that can move forward. He's the one coming off the layoff. He last seen at Churchill Downs, and he settled better today. He looks like a work in progress. They're still teaching him how to use his speed in a more effective fashion. So I think there were a lot of positives from Soldier and Diplomat. Good effort.
Over to Megan.
No, I know. Finally showed up.
Well, very pleased to be joined by Mark Casse. And you got to win some races, Mark. You're on it's like you're in a lull. We are kidding. Of course, you sweep both of the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby races today with Silent Tactic. And you initially mused you were maybe thinking about putting this horse in an allowance group after that effort. Made the decision to take him here, and it certainly paid off.
Yeah, you know what? The last race, the Smarty Jones, it was his first start ever on the dirt, and he only had one easy breeze. It's interesting. So when I talked to Mr. Oxley last week, he said, "What do you think?" I said, "Honestly, I think Silent Tactics training better than Strategic Risk, so we'll see." And we're watching the race, and I could see Strategic Risk was struggling a little. So then I started looking for Silent Tactic, and I could see he was coming. He came strong.
Gosh, he rolled down the stretch, and it's not like that pace really materialized to be as fast as maybe anticipated.
No, I said that with Javier. I said, I'm surprised the pace wasn't that fast, and I was surprised our other horse flattened out a little. You just don't know. We lost some time, obviously, with all the weather. It affects some others more than others. I wonder if it affected him a little bit, but it sure made Silent Tactic really good.
What's the next step in your brain? Obviously, just getting off this win, the Rebel is a little bit shorter now to us. What do you anticipate obviously it's just after this win as you map out a plan?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out, but we're not leaving Oaklawn.
Sounds good to me. I love seeing him every day.
That's the only thing I can tell you for sure.
Well, kept it in the family. Justin purchased this horse, and just congratulations, guys. Epic day.
Much. Thank you.
Lafitte?
Mark Casse, the winning trainer here, Southwest Stakes, We were kidding right before the end of the holiday meet, and they said if there's one person at Oaklawn that does not want to see the racing end for a few weeks, it's Mark Casse, as well as he's going. With all that momentum, then you have the break for a month. It hasn't impacted his stable whatsoever.
Not one bit. And what people maybe don't know about Mark Casse, he saddled his first horse when he was 16 years old as a licensed trainer at the Great Barrington Fair. And then to do what he's done, he came to New York with a string of horses when he was about 22 years old. I was about 18. I was riding all his horses. We became good friends. And you knew then he was a top horseman. It was just this kind of evolution into getting better horses, better clients. And his father, Norman Casse, one of the founders of the Oaklawn Sales Company, Mark was always kind of groomed for this, but he's taken it to an incredible, different level.
Andy and Greg, silent tactic, your immediate takeaway from his effort, his win in this Southwest Stakes?
I always want to see speed figures, and I haven't paid enough attention to the times to know how the times stacked up. And to me, that's the most important thing. It's not the only thing, most important thing. What I would say is positive about his race is the race didn't fall apart. He's the only horse that really made up ground in this race, right? Dakota obviously needs a cutback, and hopefully his connections will cut him back. So I think he's a good horse. He just didn't want to go long, and he got a little rank early. But you look at Butane, as well as Soldier and Diplomat. They were both right on top of the pace the whole way, and they were battling nose to nose down to the wire. So, and even Dakota didn't run that well. He actually held on fairly well, considering he was basically done around the turn. And so I think the winner did well because he closed into a race where I don't think the pace was super slow, but it wasn't super fast, and at least he was able to close into a race where kind of nobody else did. So to me, I might move that up a little, but I want to see the speed figures and see just how fast the race is, because I don't know how fast this horse is overall.
Visually, though, yeah, looked very impressive the way he was rolling and coming wide around that turn. Of course, Mark Casse, last year's winner of the Arkansas Derby with Sandman, who's going to make his 4-year-old return tomorrow on our program, says this horse is staying based in Hot Springs. You would think Arkansas Derby probably the next spot for him.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was in a Rebel. One thing you got to love about Mark Casse, he doesn't leave him in the barn. He runs them. He runs his horses. And look at Nitrogen. And he ran her over and over again. And look at the brilliant year she had last year. And it's great. You talk about Sandman. I know you're more excited to see Nitrogen tomorrow because I know that you're one of our biggest fans. So, we love Mark. Mark's one of the easier people to deal with. He's a very nice guy. He's obviously very good at what he does, but besides that, he's easy to deal with, and he runs. He does not leave him in the barn. He and Steve Asmussen, they are two guys, they run their horses.
And that's part of the reason, as in addition to being just tremendous at what he does, join the 4,000 win club. Very few have done that in the history of this sport. Dual Hall of Famer in Canada and the U.S. As you take a look at the cross-country pick 5, follow along 51,600 plus.
So I'm looking at the parlay, and bear with me a little bit. It's around 400. It's around 1,000. So it was around $14,000. So you only got like 3.5 times the parlay. So it was a bad bet.
Well done.
Could be a pool job, right?
If you were to solve that puzzle.
That could be a pool job, right?
Yes, probably is.
Yeah. Wow. Congrats.
Another Kentucky Derby prep. It'll be on our program tomorrow. The Sam F. Davis from Tampa Bay Downs, 5:30 Eastern Time. Mile and a 16th, $250,000 purse. We will talk about that field when we come back.
A warrior from the start. He's got grit, the kind champions are made of. In his biggest battles, he showed his mettle.
Sierra Leone is plugging in. Dornock is coming back. Dornock is a Remsen.
What separates the best isn't just talent, it's meeting the moment. A will to win, to scrap and fight like your life depends on it.
Dornock in an absolute thriller. Dornock and Mindframe, it will be Dornock to win the Belmont Stakes.
Look your rival in the eye and say, not today.
And Dornock stubborn. Dornock wins the Haskell.
A world-class athlete made for the fight. That's Dornock.
Say hi to our new stallion, Highland Falls. From his winning debut to that spectacular Jockey Club Gold Cup.
It is Highland Falls. He wins another one, this time the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Even his buyer was high. The race his sire made his own by a widening 4 lengths. A host of Grade 1 winners far behind. High and Goodbye. Running a 107 when second in an All-Star Whitney. The rise and rise of Highland Falls. High class, on the track and on the page. This is his dam, winning the Acorn and then the Distaff. Aim high. Breed to a well-bred son of Curlin. Highland Falls, new to Darley.
Saturday delivers coast-to-coast Super Stakes action on Naira Bets. Start fast with a 2,500 win bet hit and split on select stakes races, then finish strong with a 2,500 hit and split on the late pick 5 at Tampa Bay Downs. Play and win with Naira Bets.
We got Gasper back in action on Saturday with a Derby prep of the Sam F. Davis at Tampa Bay Downs.
There's some really good races on this card. Zany is making her return as a 3-year-old. Looking forward to that. There's a very strong maiden race.
Is you believe maybe the best 3-year-old filly in the country?
I mean, she's the one that's impressed me the most. Now, having said that, it hasn't been exactly the most, devastatingly good field. Though I like the horse that was flattered today by the result. The horse, and I'm losing the name, the Brittany Russell horse that had won the race here earlier. But I was very impressed by what I've seen from Zany.
Well, the Derby prep. Sam F. Davis, Renegade, Todd Pletcher, Arad Ortiz Jr. will be aboard the 8-5 morning line favorite.
Yeah, I want to see him run well. I think he and Confessional on the rail will vie for favoritism in this race. And he sort of comes in with a reputation, even though he's a maiden running in his second straight race. I don't see him so much as a maiden because even though he got disqualified, he did finish first in the race. I thought it was a fair DQ. But I could have seen it going the other way, and I don't want to hold that against him, so I understand being aggressive. If you're somebody that thinks Paladin, and a lot of people have him as one of their top horses for the Derby, I don't have a list or care to have one at this point, then I don't know why Renegade wouldn't be somewhere on your list as well, so it's good to see him back.
Yep, finished ahead of Paladin to break his maiden, only to get DQ'd, and then runner-up in the Remsen against Paladin. So technically, he is still a maiden, even though he's crossed the wire first.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what Confessional does in that race, and just every single Derby prep Todd has won a zillion times, right? You can't find one that he hasn't won on the East Coast, at least.
You look at his Sam F. Davis wins for Pletcher stand out on that list.
Rule and Vince Ceramos. I can read your mind.
I would say Any Given Saturday in Bluegrass Cat. It was a runner-up in the Derby.
Any Given Saturday, and I agree with you, Any Given Saturday is one of these horses that's gotten lost in the shuffle, and he had the misfortune of being in Curlin's year, and he actually beat Curlin in the Haskell. Now, Curlin obviously improved more than him, but Any Given Saturday was an extremely, extremely good horse, but because there was Curlin and there was Street Sense and so many good horses that year, he kind of got lost in the shuffle.
Grade 3 Southwest win. He's winning at nearly 50% at the meet, and he's going to have his champion 3-year-old filly return tomorrow, along with last year's Arkansas Derby winner, Mark Cassidy, on quite a roll in Hot Springs.
I'm feeling really sorry for him. Very bad.
It's been a lean meet. We'll be back with more Sandman and Nitrogen, the champion, getting set to return on our coverage on Saturday. Preview to come.
Battle, Sandman going at it, and Publisher trying to break his maiden in the Arkansas Derby. Coal Battle has lost the lead to Sandman. Publisher, the only threat to beat him. Sandman, he's green, drifting around here. It's Sandman in front by 2. Publisher is second, and Sandman, he's run his A race, and he gets a confidence booster heading to Kentucky.
Not just his A race, the best race of his career. We hadn't seen prior, we haven't seen since. What a moment in that Arkansas Derby for Sandman, his 4-year-old debut. You'll see live on our program tomorrow from Oaklawn.
Well, any horse that could have an influencer or somehow get him to be 5-1 in the Derby because of that, you got to love that. Putting some money in the pools, and I think he created a lot of fans, and that's a cool thing. You saw a lot of younger people coming and rooting for him in Saratoga, and all that's good. But for me as a gambler, I welcome in any race I want to bet on because American dirt racing is not built for deep closers. I mean, it's in general, it's very favorable to horses forward. And while there's a little bit of speed in his race, there's not an abundance. So feels to me like a good horse to bet against. But he's a cool horse, and I'm glad he's back.
1.5 mil plus in earnings. Yeah, Griffin Johnson, the influencer, who's so integral to his story and created so many fans in the sport with this horse. And seeing him get to the Kentucky Derby, he ran third in the Preakness in that amazing performance by.
Yeah, he's a good horse. I mean, a really good horse. How good is he, though? And
Yeah. We'll see. Can he take a step forward now as a 4-year-old? We'll find out.
And I would also say there's probably an argument he just sort of tailed off at the end of last year. So now he's had a little time to regroup. And listen, he's run some good races. He's not some sort of phony. I just don't like short-priced, deep closers in general.
Let's remember, too, I mean, yeah, this is a horse who comes from another zip code. He's so far back. He used to be a sprinter with speed at the beginning of his career.
So is Crypto Clearance, who's one of the most famous closers of my lifetime, coming from way back. When he first started out, he dueled in the half and 45 and change. So, Mark certainly trained the speed out of him, but I think in training the speed out of him, he obviously had some good results. So I'm not going to criticize Mark for doing that. He knows what he's doing.
So Mark Casse with a big win on the road to this year's Triple Crown with Silent Tactic, who could be pointing. Obviously, that's the goal. Arkansas Derby and then Kentucky Derby, but last year's Arkansas Derby winner coming back. And Stablemate, a champion 3-year-old filly, set to make her 4-year-old debut, returning tomorrow as well as we send it back to Hot Springs.
Tomorrow in the Bayacoa, ridden by Jose Ortiz. You had a conversation with Jose earlier today about Nitrogen. What was your biggest takeaway?
As soon as I brought up her name, how big his smile got. He just lit up like a Christmas tree. Some good horses are not easy to ride, and you almost get more nervous riding them because they're a lot of expectation, but they don't always help you. Nitrogen looks like a jockey's dream. She puts you where you need to be. He lit up. He really loves that filly.
It sounded like the Azeri would be the target, but she was doing so well in training and want to get back in training and just aggressive and wanted to get back on track. So here she is a little bit sooner in the Bayacoa. Nitrogen, 4 to 5 on the morning line, the moment of her career in her second start on the main track. Grade 1 Alabama last summer at Saratoga, Richie.
She's just a gem of consistency, and she's a kind of a throwback. Very few horses can transfer their form to different surfaces. She's been good on turf. She's been as good, arguably better on dirt. I mean, she just shows up and runs. 12 starts, never been off the board, in top flight company. And here is your 3-year-old filly champion.
Recently crowned and back, ready for her 4-year-old season as we go back to the very beginning and where it all started with Nitrogen. Born on March 6, 2022. There she is with mom. Look at the baby. Look at the baby. Little baby Nitrogen. She didn't debut until the summer of 24 at Woodbine on grass in a second-place finish. It actually took her a while to graduate, but she did so in a stakes race on turf at Gulfstream Park, the Ginger Brew in South Florida. Her first race on the main track, the wonder again, Belmont Week, was washed off. She stayed in and absolutely romped. All right, so let's stay on the main track and target one of the most prestigious races for 3-year-old fillies in the country, the Alabama. She rolled the result. A title, a champion, DJ Stables, trained by Mark Casse, Nitrogen, and the fact that we get to see her during her 4-year-old campaign, one of the overriding themes of the Eclipse Award. So many of these horses back in training this year, and can't wait to see what she does tomorrow in the Bayakoa.
Neither can I. And it's exciting when you get horses of this caliber that compete at this level coming back. I think it helps our industry. It helps the game. People have a chance to, latch onto a horse. They build a fan base, and you want to follow them along. So I hope this kind of trend continues where you see the good 3-year-olds coming back as 4-year-olds. And with a filly, it's more difficult because there's so much value in them as a broodmare and the foals that they're going to produce. So I give Len and John Green, DJ Stables, so much credit and thank them as a fan for bringing back the champion.
Had to wait a little bit longer for this weekend of racing, postponed, but in the end, living up to the billing and then some, and still Saturday and Sunday in front of us, Nitrogen tomorrow, and this nightcap, 12th and final race, post-parade here, allowance, mile and an eighth, and we start with a 19-1 shot, JT's Imagination, Walter Dela Cruz.
Horse that's way too big a price in my estimation. He was off for a while. He came back with a win, could step forward.
Still smiling. Look at him, Christian Torres and Bright Spark.
Well, that was my feet on his energy. Bright Spark's probably going to run pretty good here.
Montauk, point long shot. Number 5 here is Italian Symphony.
Yes.
No,
I'm sorry.
D-Day Reunion.
D-Day Reunion.
Apologies. Contender, though, in My Noble Knight.
In My Noble Knight, certainly a contender. You get Joe Rosario 4, our friend and colleague, Tom Amos.
Nameless and Louis Saez.
Should be forward. Comes out of fast-paced races at Del Mar over the summer.
Cybertown, 6-1 currently.
Yeah, now stretching out, it just feels like would be a bit of a surprise.
Gasoline, 28-1 outsider.
Yeah, another one that has races back in the past that would be competitive. Recent form not as strong.
Eastside Cool, popular at the claim box.
Anytime a horse is popular at the claim box, there's a reason for it. Horsemen gravitate to horses they watch train and they like. I think that's always a good sign.
The 11 horse. Let's go with the 11 horse. 9-time winner, the 5-year-old. Perfect.
Yep, it's
beautiful.
It's actually a wine, spicy wine. It's a horse that always shows speed. Should be involved forward early.
Money run towards the outside.
Peter Miller, mile and an eighth, got enough of a run to the turn that he should be able to overcome that outside draw, get some position.
Style towards the outside draws in.
Showed decent speed last time when trained by Peter Miller, was claimed, and that got a big buyer figure.
Field for the 12th and final on the Southwest Stakes Friday. 3 minutes to post. And circling back to Money Run, pictured there. And revisiting his most recent. This was opening weekend during the holiday meet. Money Run broke sharp, makes the lead. Turning for home, finds another gear and kicks clear.
Yeah, just kept finding right here. Just kept finding. Nice win. My paper's kind of blue here. I'm trying to get them all together, Lafitte. But yeah, the outside post will be less of a problem going the mile and a furlong because they have time to separate, and this horse has natural speed, should be involved. But it looks like this horse is all or nothing at all. When he makes the lead, he runs. When he doesn't make the lead, he doesn't run.
And the outside post towards the outside Money Run with more on him. We check in with Megan.
Well, this is a type of race that casts a very wide net, these starter allowance groups, and that's exactly what has happened in this spot where I think that it's ultra competitive. There's so many horses that you can make a case for, but the 12 Money Run, Meg hit it on the head. He's all or nothing. He contends with an outside post. He is a need the lead type, very prolific at doing so, and that 93 buyer speed figure last time out, a bit of an outlier. He does run well when he gets the lead, but that was pretty exaggerated to what he's been running as of late. Now he gets back to a very similar level, obviously, and now to me, I think it's very well within the wheelhouse for him to be able to control in this group, but I just don't want to leave it up to chance, especially from that outside post, but he looks fantastic. Peter Miller has done a tremendous job during the holiday meet. He was really seeing the ball well. I think this horse makes sense if he makes the lead. But the number 2, Bright Spark, is where I landed. And while he is devoid of early speed, I do think that he'll get a setup in front of him. I thought there was a pretty decent pace to his outside to run at, hopefully. And as mentioned, we ran a really solid race, and he's just a horse that always shows up. He's 3 for 4 here at Oaklawn Park. He likes this surface. He's second off of the freshening. I just think he's in perfect prime position to take another step forward as he does extend in distance. But hey, look, he's got a win here doing so, and at this condition. He made sense to me, and I think he'll get the right kind of trip with your Southwest winning jockey right up aboard in Christian Torres. But just circle back to the number 10, Eastside Cool. This horse has been doing really well, and he's one of those lower-level claimers where he's a cyclical and nature type horse. And just when being on the backside, I feel like he's one of those that's really kind of training at this point in time well, especially for him as an individual. He's tactical. He's going to be able to sit forward on that front end with that tactical speed as mentioned, and I think if he gets the right kind of trip, he seems to be doing well, and he looks the part as well up there for Randy Morris. But again, this is such a wide-open group. We'll see how this speed materializes, but it's always fun to sort through these kind of races, Lafitte.
To close out the afternoon, really good stuff all day, Megan. Great stuff with Mark Casse after the Southwest victory. And now one left to close the show. Bright Spark for you.
Well, he's 3 for 4 at Oaklawn Park. His only loss here was on a sloppy racetrack. He's undefeated on a fast track here at Oaklawn. And you get Christian Torres, who's coming off the high of winning the Southwest. I am a great believer that horses feed on energy, positive or negative. You know there's a lot of positive energy going on, and I couldn't be happier for Christian Torres. He's a top-flight rider. Watched how he handled himself with so much class last year when he lost him out on Sandman, and nice to see him being rewarded with the opportunity he got and made the most of it with a terrific ride in the Southwest.
What those decisions that you have to make on a closer and a larger field, and now he kept him to the outside today, so it wasn't as much traffic to navigate, but still pulling the trigger at just the right moment and knocking it down on the stretch.
Well, it was interesting to watch him as he was careful not to angle out before he made the corner into the stretch, right? He kind of followed horses into the stretch and at the same time gradually angled out, and once his horse got into the clear, dropped his head and kicked on. It was fun to watch. He really contributed a very, very good ride.
Pumped up, excited at the wire. Christian Torres, $1 Million Victory Southwest Stakes. 12th and final, filing into the gate. 3-1, tepid favorite. Bright Spark is the choice at post time. One final time on this Friday evening. Matt Dinnerman standing by.
Union going in, post 5 for the Burl McBride barn. Then Money Run. My Noble Knight, Jose Ortiz picking up the ride here, 2 back. Nameless to post 7. And You're My Style to the outside. Nameless walking up to the gate. You're My Style rounds out the group. 11 more races tomorrow. We'll see you then. Good luck in the nightcap. They're off. And a little bit of a slow break here from Gasoline. There's a battle for the lead early. Money Run very aggressively ridden here to go out to the front. He's got the lead from Gewürztraminer. He'll take a hold second. They're moving right along here in the first furlong. You're My Style into the 3rd spot, but it's Money Run getting in a good rhythm on the lead here. Gets to the rail and hits the first turn 1.5 lengths in front. You're My Style into 2nd. Gewürztraminer takes a hold. He'll track a little bit keen in the 3rd spot. There's a gap of 5. The Eastside Cool. JT's Imagination to the inside. Another 4 to Montauk Point, and being pulled up here, Nameless. That's the 7, Nameless, who pulled up out of the race here. So they make their way onto the backstretch run. Money Run on the lead here, 1.5 lengths in front. You're My Style runs in 2nd. Gewürztraminer to the inside. There's a gap of 3. Eastside Cool, then JT's Imagination inside. Montauk Point is next in the group with Bright Spark and Gasoline between that pair. Cybertown, he's 3rd last today ahead of My Noble Knight and D-Day Reunion as they head towards the far turn run. Money Run moving right along here for 1 1/8. They're moving quickly. Money Run into the turn, length in front. Gewürztraminer right on his heels, wants to go, but he's going to have to tap on the brakes and wait still down on the inside. Money Run opens up the lead 1.5 lengths. You're My Style 2nd. Gewürztraminer 3rd, still pinned in while on that hold here. Eastside Cool, he's in an all-out drive. He's got to get going. Bright Spark searching for racing room. He's staying on the inside, turning for home. He's 5 behind. They're off the turn. Money Run is the leader. Comes off that turn, 2 lengths ahead. Eastside Cool 2nd. Bright Spark finds a seam and gets going on the outside. Money Run, 1 furlong to go. A 2-length lead on Eastside Cool and Bright Spark, who's 3rd. 16th left for Money Run. He's going to go all the way here under Ramon Vasquez. Money Run gets the money in the nightcap here on Southwest Day 2026. Bright Spark was 2nd. Gewürztraminer 3rd. My Noble Knight and Cybertown were next.
Back-to-back wins. 4 of his last 6. 3-1 at post time. Money Run. Ramon Vasquez in the Southwest Nightcap.
Yeah, and he made the lead, and they had to go fast. 22 .73 the first quarter, but that's Money Run's style. He makes the lead, he runs. Doesn't make the lead, he doesn't give you an effort. This was a big effort, fast pace, and kept finding. Peter Miller having a terrific meeting as well, winning at a high percentage.
And lots of that success with Ramon Vasquez.
Yeah, and listen, when a trainer and a jockey kind of hit it off and there's trust there and good communication, it's just like any other good relationship. You got to have trust and you got to have communication.
Like if I get beat or if I make a mistake, I'm not going to get fired, which gives you a little bit more leeway to kind of trust your own instincts. And like you said, that trust that if a mistake is made, you're not riding in order to not lose. Just don't make a mistake. Just don't make a mistake. You know that you're still going to be back in the barn. You're still going to be riding those horses in the future.
It's a way to the grandstand on shoulder when you ride for somebody that you know is going to take you off horses if you make a mistake. You can't go out there encumbered by that. You've got to be free and clear. Trainers will get better results from jockeys if they allow them to do their job.
12 up and 12 down, and this one 12-2, 11-6 in the nightcap. We'll put a bow on it, wrap it all up. When we come back, Money Run rolls in the 12th at Oaklawn.
Witness history.
Sandman is getting a little bit closer with Hypnus.
Greatness.
Here comes Cole Battle and Juan Vargas rolling towards the lead.
And legends in the making.
Cole Battle, the story continues. Cole Battle does it.
Sunday, March 1st at the 2026 Rebel Stakes. Watch champions rise on the road to the Kentucky Derby and compete for a $1 million purse. It's all happening just a short drive away at Oaklawn Hot Springs. Plan your stay today and come join the fun.
Weekends are for winners at Naira Bets. Opt into the Late Pick 5 hit and split bonuses to claim your share of $5,000 every Friday through Sunday. $5,000 hit and splits every weekend when you bet with Naira Bets.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
New York breds. Race them.
Respect them.
Bet them.
Respect them.
Breed them.
Respect them.
Buy them.
Respect them.
Train them for a second career.
Respect them.
Join us in respecting thoroughbreds at every stage of life. Learn more at nybreds.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Winding things down at Oaklawn Park. Great to have you with us all afternoon on FS2, America's Day at the Races, as Money Run enters the winner's circle with Ramon Vasquez.
Was able to make the lead with a race that appeared to have other speeds in there, but it's clear that Peter Miller, the trainer, and Ramon Vasquez, the rider, understand that this horse needs the lead to be at his best, and he was able to run fast early and see it through.
Trainer Peter Miller right there, right off Money Run's flank, right off his neck. He went right from there, because this was moments ago, over to the bell, rang the bell, of which all the proceeds go to Thoroughbred Aftercare in Arkansas.
I think it's a fantastic thing they do here at Oaklawn. I wish other racetracks would follow suit. These horses give us so much, it's incumbent upon us to give back.
It's gotten to the point where we pretty much hear that bell ringing after just about every race.
Well, if you can't, after you won a race, can't kick up $100 to ensure horses have a secure future, then maybe you're in the wrong industry.
What he said. As we get set to say goodbye, so what did we learn in this terrific afternoon of Thoroughbred racing?
Well, I think we learned that Silent Tactic is a horse that will stay. Now, if he'll stay fast enough, that's another story, and we'll find that out as we go further. But the question always is, will they get 1.25 miles? The way he ran today, he gave you that impression he would.
Really motoring through the stretch. Exciting addition to the Southwest Stakes. Next stop en route to the Arkansas Derby, the Rebel, on March 1st. Thanks so much for joining us on America's Day at the Races. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow from New York to Hot Springs and what Two Bits did in the Ruthless for trainer Amelia Green. Jamie Rodriguez, flawless ride. Derby prep in New York. Next step towards the wood. Talk to Me, Jimmy, by many. Ruben Silvera, Rudy Rodriguez, something to celebrate on this Friday afternoon. And then the 3-year-old preps here at Oaklawn with Search Party. The beginning of a massive afternoon for Mark Cassie, Christian Torres. That celebration from Torres following that performance, Silent Tactic in the Southwest.